Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk coming at you on a Monday on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our video stream on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on our Facebook page, WIBW News. It is a red Monday. It is a blue Monday. It could be a Monday to remember if you are a fan of Kansas City professional sports. Really, when you break down the odds, there's a 25% chance this is one of the best nights of your life. With the Royals in the playoffs, the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, they could both win. You got 25% chance of heads and heads, right? You flip two coins, 25% chance heads and heads. 25% chance tails. We don't have to talk about that. We don't want that. 50% chance you get something good out of tonight. Of course, those aren't the actual Las Vegas odds. That's just simple probability we're talking about here. On a big, big night in the sports world where the spotlight falls on Kansas City. Game 2 of the American League Division Series tonight, the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees. The Royals behind Cole Ragans trying to tie the series after a 6-5 loss in Game 1. The Chiefs trying to go to 5-0 on the season as they take on the New Orleans Saints tonight on Monday Night Football. 2 big games, 3 big hours here on 580 Sports Talk to break it all down. So we appreciate you being with us today. I am Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis is here. Brendan Dorzinski, doubtful for today's program. So more than likely just going to be Spencer and I the whole way today. And like I said, lots to get to on a day like few other, a day like no other, if we're being real honest about it. It's not often that the center of the sports world falls squarely on the same city on the same night, but that's where we are tonight. The Royals and the Chiefs starting their games within about 45 minutes of each other. And just off top, so that we're clear, if you want to hear Kansas City Royals baseball on the radio tonight, you are in the right place. The Royals game will start at 6:38 p.m. That means pregame coverage at 6 o'clock from the Royals Baseball Network right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. As soon as we're done here on 580 Sports Talk, we will hand it off to the Royals Baseball Network from the Bronx. If you want to hear Chiefs football tonight, Mitch Holtis, Dayton Hughes, Josh Klingler, they will be on our sister station, the Big 94.5 Country, WIBW FM. You can catch the Chiefs broadcast starting at 6 p.m. with the kickoff for Monday Night Football set for 7:15 p.m. Central Time. Catch both games on the radio tonight. Royals right here on the AM dial. Chiefs over on the Big 94.5 Country, WIBW FM. And we'll reset that throughout the show so that we're clear on where to go to hear the ball game that you want to listen to tonight. Maybe you'll be flipping back and forth if you're driving around or you're in a garage or somewhere doing some work tonight. You can't get to a TV. You can be flipping back and forth. We'll have the games for you tonight on the Alpha Media family of stations. We will start the show with a Chiefs-Saints preview. We've got our keys to the game, our big Chief picks, our predictions for tonight. Can the Chiefs run the record to 5-0 with the New Orleans Saints coming to town, a team that Mitch Holtis, when we talked to him last week, the voice of the Chiefs, referred to as a 4-0 team in 2-2 clothing. They're a good team. This will be a tough matchup for a Chiefs team that hasn't shown a predilection to blow anybody out, but they're 5.5-point favorites going into tonight against Derek Carr and the Saints. We'll talk all about it in this first hour of the show. We'll also bring in our NFL Insider, Matt Verderame from Sports Illustrated, from That Football Show on KCSN, and from his own subscriber-only Patreon, the Matt Verderame Show. Matt will join us bottom of the 3 o'clock hour, as he does every Monday. We'll get his thoughts on tonight's Chiefs-Saints matchup and the rest of the action across Week 5 in the National Football League, in which I came away personally with one question. Is anyone good? I know who's bad. I know which teams are kind of living in hell right now, but who's good? Anyone? Like, even Minnesota going to 5-0, not terribly convincing, and you can see in real time the bloom coming off the Sam Darnold rose. The Chiefs, if they win tonight, are going to be 5-0, but again, have they been terribly convincing in the first 4 games? Would you expect them, even in victory tonight, to be convincing against a good Saints team? It's a lot easier to identify who isn't good than who's good right now in the NFL is the point. We'll see if Matt Verderame can help us make sense of it when he joins us at the bottom of this hour. Lots of Royals talk in the 4 o'clock hour. Royals trail the Yankees 1-0 in this best-of-5 American League Division Series. Maybe they shouldn't. If instant replay worked the way it was supposed to, maybe they wouldn't. But yes, the Royals were on the wrong side of a couple of judgment calls on Saturday, and that made the one-run loss all the more frustrating. In the end, however, you got to get the guys who aren't Aaron Judge and Juan Soto out in big spots. And the Royals bullpen did not do that on Saturday, and that is why they trail in this series. But I think Tyler has it right on the nose, jumping in the YouTube live chat already. Tyler says, boys look like they came to play. Should be able to win one in New York. I agree with you, Tyler, 100%. I did not come away from that game feeling like the Royals were overmatched in this series. And they've got the better of the pitching matchup tonight with Cole Ragans on the bump. So we will talk about that plenty on the show today. A little bit of a look back at Game 1 and what was good about Game 1 for the Royals. Maybe the most encouraging thing that I saw in Game 1 from the Royals that makes me believe that this is going to be a series. I really believe that even if the Royals don't find a way to win tonight, look, series doesn't start till the home team loses. I think we're going to see a series. I certainly do not think that this is going to be wham, bam, thank you for coming from the Yankees. And I'll tell you why later on in the show. Also, we got some college football to get to. Kansas football feels like they're living a version of Groundhog Day that they simply cannot wake up from. Another one-score loss in the dying seconds. And this KU season that started with such promise and such high hopes is assuredly doomed now with a 1-5 record going into the bye week. There's no salvaging this, which is a shame because really there were some departments where KU had not been better than they were Saturday night in Tempe against Arizona State. But better still wasn't good enough. And these Jayhawks somehow are 1-5 and 0-3 in Big 12 play. We'll talk about that as well as the rest of the weekend of the Big 12 and a wild weekend in college football. I have to tell you, my brain still has not made sense of the sentence, Vanderbilt beat Alabama in American football. I can't do it. I still can't make sense of that. Even 48 hours later, I still can't make heads or tails of the fact that that is a real thing that we all saw happen on Saturday afternoon. That was part of a wild college football weekend. We'll discuss that as well as all of the things that happened in week 5 of the NFL. Plus, all of the things that you've come to know and love from a Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. We'll do a little good, bad, ugly from the weekend. Our week begins on What Is Wrong With You. We'll have our sports headlines, including a playoff roundup at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. Plus, your interaction with the program. We invite you in to comment on the show today. Multiple ways you can do that. First, if you've got a phone in your hand, you can text the program. Top City Metal Supply text line is open. 785-272-9429 is that number. 785-272-9429 is the text line number. From construction sites to renovations, from the farm to the garage, Top City Metal Supply understands the value of precision and cost efficiency. No more wasted materials, no more wasted money, just metal cut to the exact size you need. Top City Metal Supply, located on South Topeka Boulevard, just north of Forbes Field. So that's one way you can check in with us today. You can also hit us up if you are watching live on YouTube. We welcome those of you who are watching us live on the YouTube stream. We are on 580 Sports Talk. That's the YouTube channel. Subscribe today if you have not already. And if you're watching live, you can jump into the live chat, interact with us and other listeners to the show today. You can also comment if you're watching on Facebook, WIBW News, and we will see those as well. One last thing we have to get to before we jump feet first into a crammed episode of 580 Sports Talk. How does a free trip to Europe sound? Because we're giving one away on our website, 580wibw.com. We've got a keyword every hour. You go to the website. There's a link on the front page that says, listen to win a 10-day trip to Europe. Really easy to find. You click on that link and you enter the keyword every hour, and that will give you a chance to enter and win a 10-day trip to Europe. Pretty cool, right? This hour's keyword is England. 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 Enter at 580wibw.com. We'll have a new keyword every hour for the next 2 weeks for your chance to win. All right, let's get into it. Chiefs and Saints tonight. And I do think the Saints are better than their record at 2-2, and I don't think the Chiefs are maybe quite as good as their record at 4-0. Let's launch into the keys to the game for this one, and I'll begin with mine. My first key to the game tonight is that the Chiefs cannot beat themselves on offense. The margin for error for the Chiefs offense is maybe as thin as it has ever been right now, as presently constructed, with the starting running back being Kareem Hunt. And your starting wide receivers right now are Juju Smith-Schuster with one good knee, and Xavier Worthy, who is playing his 5th NFL game, and Sky Moore, who's just filling the rings on his Apple Watch, his fitness app on his Apple Watch. That's all he's doing out there, just getting some cardio in. Those are the running backs and wide receivers right now that start for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a really thin margin for error. The Chiefs cannot afford the kinds of mistakes that will make it even harder for them as an offense to remain efficient, stay on schedule, and put up points. Pre-snap penalties, dropped passes, and most especially turnovers have to be avoided tonight. And I know I'm really reinventing the wheel by saying turning the football over is bad, but the Chiefs in particular have been really sloppy, and Patrick Mahomes in particular has been uncharacteristically sloppy with the football through 4 weeks. You can't do that tonight. The Saints are going to be good enough on offense to really make you pay if that's the case. The Chiefs have to remain efficient, have to give themselves a chance on every drive to score. They cannot extinguish drives because of mistakes of their own making. They have to capitalize when they get scoring opportunities. No drive-killing penalties, no drive-ending turnovers. You cannot beat yourself if you were the Chiefs. Now, if the Saints make big-time plays on defense and they're flying around and they're forcing turnovers, they're getting third down stops, hey, look, they all live in big houses too, right? But that's key number one for me. The Chiefs have to stay on schedule, have to play within their margin of error, which is super slim. And to do that, they cannot beat themselves on offense. The second key for the Chiefs in this one for me, how about getting an early stop on defense for a change? First 4 games of the season for the Chiefs, on the opening drive of the game, they have allowed a touchdown, field goal, and a touchdown. 24 points on the opening drive in their first 4 games this season. There is no reason for the Chiefs tonight to come out flat in front of a live Arrowhead Stadium crowd on Monday Night Football. So what I want to see from the Chiefs early on is force a punt, force a turnover, get some early momentum, because falling behind early or giving up early points has set the tone in the first 4 games that these games have been slogs. These games have been unpleasant. These games have been, the Chiefs have to dig this one out of the bottom of the dumpster. And look, winning teams make a habit out of doing that. This might be another one that comes down at the end of the night to the fact that the Chiefs are a winning team and the Saints are a losing team historically. And winning teams stay winning for a reason, and losing teams, as you saw how the Saints lost to the Falcons last Sunday. Losing teams stay losing for a reason. So it might just be that simple at the end of the night, but I'm sure, especially if you are going to be split screening the Chiefs and Royals tonight, you'd like the blood pressure to be a little lower on the Chiefs side of the screen. And one way to do that, don't fall behind early. Get a stop on the opening drive of the game. Those are my 2 keys to the game. Spencer Dupuis, what have you got for keys to the game?
I realized, so I had them in my head, and Brendan, who's not going to be on the show today, wrote his down. Mine are kind of similar to his, at least one of them.
Okay.
And that's because I heard Matt Verderame, a little clip from his podcast. Well, he'll be on our show here, in 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, right?
Right.
He has a show on the Kansas City Sports Network.
Kansas City
Sports Network. And I saw a little bite from his podcast, or a little clip. And Derek Carr is just completely dominated by the Chiefs defensive line on a consecutive basis. I think like 40 times he's been pressured or something. during the time that they've played each other when he was back with the Raiders.
Mhm.
So I think the first key is getting pressure onto Derek Carr, unload the blitz. As he said, just go to man and send everybody you can, send the cavalry at Carr and see what happens. And then my second key is get Mahomes into a rhythm, right? He's not gotten into a rhythm. He's thrown bad interceptions, uncharacteristic interceptions. And I think you need to get him in to things early, little check downs maybe, or, get Mahomes into it with Kelsey as well, because obviously you're without your top receiver, Rashee Rice. So
See, for me, I actually think it's the opposite. I think they need to open it up the way they did a little bit in the second half of the Charger game and open it up. And Mahomes has to trust that some of those downfield routes are going to be there, that they're going to develop. And you just have to stand in the pocket and give it a little time, and don't flee the pocket if it looks like it might break down. Give your offensive line a chance to set up and see if you can't hit on a couple of those big field flipping plays. Xavier Worthy's the fastest guy in the history of the NFL Combine. You should be sending him deep frequently and seeing if you can't hit a home run with him. I think that the key to opening up the Chiefs passing game is all Mahomes, and with a pinch of offensive line. But yeah, trust that those plays down the field are going to develop. Now, early in the game, yes, I think you want to see the Chiefs offense score early. And if that means that it's a little bit more of the quick game stuff to soften up the Chiefs, the Saints defensively, to bring them further down into the box, whatever it might be, I don't necessarily disagree there. But I really think that the key to getting the Chiefs passing offense going tonight and in the long term is trusting that the deep stuff is going to be there, because there were multiple occasions against the Chargers where it looked like it was going to be there, and Mahomes either didn't see it or he bailed the pocket before it could develop. So I'm looking for a better pocket presence for Mahomes tonight. I think that's the key to getting him in rhythm. So you and I are singing the same song, maybe just different verses. Another key that Brendan left us, he is, again, not on the program today. He'll be back tomorrow. He wrote, don't be afraid to run the ball. The Saints are the 7th worst in the NFL on defense when it comes to yards per carry. They allow close to 5 yards per carry. The Chiefs, of course, have been really good running the ball on early downs, first downs in particular. If you run the ball effectively, that's going to open up the deep ball. That's going to take pressure off of Mahomes. That's going to cause the defensive ends to hesitate just a little bit before they pin their ears back and try and beat Wanye Morris on one side or Juwan Taylor on the other. Running the ball effectively matters. And I think the Chiefs have been very good at that. It sounds like our friend and Chiefs insider Matt Derrick reporting earlier today that it sounds like Kareem Hunt's going to be running back 1 tonight and get the majority of the snaps. If he's got the same kind of burst it looked like he might have in his Chiefs debut last week against the Chargers, I think the opportunity is there for the Chiefs to continue to have that good success rate running the ball on early downs and set themselves up into second and third and manageable. And that, too, allows the offense to get into rhythm because it opens up the whole playbook as you go along. So those are our keys to the contest as we look ahead to tonight. Again, if you want to hear the Chiefs on the radio tonight, they are over on our sister station, the Big 94.5 Country, WIBW-FM, 94.5 on your FM dial. That is where you can hear the Chiefs tonight. Pre-game coverage at 6 o'clock, the kickoff at 7:15. We'll take our first break here on the program. Still to come this hour, Matt Verderame, as mentioned, our NFL Insider, is going to join us. We'll get his thoughts on Monday Night Football tonight, as well as all the other Week 5 action. But first, we've got our good, bad, ugly from the sports weekend that is coming up after this first time out. Thanks for being with us. We got a jam-packed show, a red Monday and a blue Monday on 580 Sports Talk. Time for the good, the bad, and the ugly from the weekend that was. Spencer Dupuis, I'm going to let you start. What was your good from the weekend?
I got a couple goods here.
Okay.
Marshall won its homecoming game. They're now 3-2. They made a quarterback switch.
I know you've been begging for that.
Yes, and it really worked out. He also got a helmet sticker on College Game Day Finals.
Very good.
Or college football, whatever it is, final. And I got the household bragging rights over the weekend because the Commanders are so back. They're so back, and they beat the Browns. My girlfriend's favorite team is the Browns, so
okay.
Yeah,
household that means a lot. That's a big deal.
It does. Oh, yeah, it does.
So that's your good from the weekend. Brendan not here, but he submits as his good. Brendan's a big Joe Burrow guy. And Brendan says Joe Burrow was as good. Joe Burrow is back. He was great.
Yeah.
There were some other problems that Cincinnati had, and they're 1-4, but it's not really Joe Burrow's fault. He did. He played a heck of a game. My good, again, I have to keep saying it out loud because I haven't been able to really comprehend it. Alabama lost to Vanderbilt in an American football game. Vanderbilt beat Alabama, number 1 Alabama.
That team that all the SEC teams always mark down as a big old W.
As an automatic win. Yes.
Yeah.
So unless you were a real college football sicko, you might not have been aware of who Diego Pavia was before this year because he was plying his trade at New Mexico State, where he matriculated after his JUCO career at the New Mexico Military Academy or Institute, NMMI. 5'0" quarterback with no regard for his body, just flying around, making plays, devil may care attitude, the absolute perfect underdog college football quarterback. Diego Pavia used to be the exclusive domain of sickos like me. And now he belongs to the ages because he's the Vanderbilt quarterback that beat number 1 Alabama. And they marched those goalposts down Broadway. Do you know how confused the Bachelorettes on Broadway had to be on Saturday night? Why are all these people down here now? What are they doing are those goalposts?
Do you know how long the route was?
Yes, I don't know if you've been to Nashville. I've been to Nashville.
I have not, but I was following along on the cameras.
And I've been to the Vanderbilt campus. Like, I know where their football stadium's at. I've been to the campus of Vanderbilt University. And I have been to, I've been down on Broadway, the Ryman and all the bars and everything like that. Like, it's not close. It's 2.5 miles.
It's like an hour walk.
With goalposts. And
with the police escort.
And they made it. And they sunk the goalposts in the Cumberland River. What a night. Between that, number 10, Michigan losing. Number 11, USC losing. Number 9, Missouri getting pantsed by Texas A&M. All of the upsets this weekend. College football's perfect. You can try to screw it up, and Lord knows the bureaucrats have tried, but it is a perfect sport.
Did you see what Vandy's doing?
No.
So they're being fined $100,000.
Yes.
Because they let the fans
yes
take the field. They've recovered the goalposts, and they're selling that part of that goalpost. Like, they're selling little bits of the goalpost.
Nice. Yeah, may as well get the money back. All right, my bad for the weekend was the Buffalo Bills letting Josh Allen come back in the game after he was very obviously concussed in the loss to Houston. Like, his head bounced off the turf like a Super Bowl, and he absolutely did not know where he was. And they put him back in the game, and he didn't complete a pass after that, and the Bills lost. I don't know what Sean McDermott's brain trauma was that caused him to call 3 passing plays inside the 5 with no time left, hardly, and giving Houston a chance to win the game. But no, Josh Allen should not have been out in that football game, and it just making a joke of something that is not a joke, which is like concussion awareness and prevention. That's bad look for Buffalo, and they got what they deserved. What was your bad?
The bad was for the last 5 months, I had been thinking about taking some time off and going to Marshall's homecoming game just to go back, right?
Yeah.
Well, didn't pull the trigger, didn't go. And somehow Marshall got one of the hottest country stars of all time right now, Zach Bryan, and he was at the game.
Oh, man.
And I was here in Kansas. Yeah.
And they beat, what is it, East Carolina by
App
like a million? Oh, it was App State. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlotte beat East Carolina.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got my Sun Belt all crossed up. Anyhow, Brendan's bad was the Bengals defense. Yeah, that was a rough showing for them. Brendan's exact quote in the log here: Lou Anarumo, time to fire a fiver, buddy. Wow, Lou Anarumo really is a Patrick Mahomes merchant. That's all he got.
Yeah.
My ugly was the freshman defensive lineman for South Carolina who celebrated a sack by pretending to empty a semi-automatic weapon into the chest of a quarterback. That should have been like a 50-yard penalty. Like, we can't be doing that. This isn't like an anti-gun thing. This is don't celebrate doing a good thing by pretending to murder your opponent thing. Don't simulate the gun violence. Like, I know they've gone a little too far with it. They threw a flag on a Colts player for signaling first down, but since he did it with one finger extended, they thought it was finger guns. But look, I'm all for erring on the side of caution for a little bit, because what that kid did, especially in a game his team was losing at the time and did lose, man, you can't have that. That was a bad look. That was my ugly. Brandon's ugly was his picks this week. We'll get there. We'll recap our 580 Sports Talk Prairie Band Casino picks of the week. Winning week for Spencer and I. For Brendan, not so much. What was your ugly, Spencer? Quickly.
My ugly was having my girlfriend have to endure the dirty man as her favorite team's quarterback. The nasty man. He's the biggest. I think he has the biggest heist of all time. He schemed the Cleveland Browns out of $230 million.
Guaranteed.
He also
not a dime back.
He also on a fourth down about walked off the field and quit on his team.
Well, there were 12 guys in the huddle.
Yes, but still,
he couldn't. You can't break the huddle if there are 12 guys.
I know.
Like, it would have been. It would have been. It looked bad, and he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. But
you should be able to say, "Go, get out of here, walk, run back to the sideline."
Deshaun Watson, that contract and that trade are going to go down maybe as the worst in NFL history.
Yeah.
So congratulations to the Vikings and the Herschel Walker trade. You're officially off the hook. The Deshaun Watson trade was worse. That's the good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. Matt Verderame joins us for our NFL Insider here on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by Matt Verderame, who covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. You can also hear him on That Football Show on the KC Sports Network, and check out his subscribers-only Patreon, the Matt Verderame Show, for more on that. Visit him on Twitter at Matt Verderame. You can hear him every Monday here as our NFL Insider on 580 Sports Talk. And Matt, have you recovered from Cowboys Steelers last night? That was as unpleasant an NFL game as I can recall.
You know, that is one of the few times doing the job that I do for a living, I was genuinely pissed off that I had to sit there and watch a football game. Like, you know, I was watching with my dad who's in town, and I said, you know, this is one of the few times, like, I would turn this off in a heartbeat and either go to bed, read, I don't know, watch the car at 1 a.m. Like, anything's better than this game. Nobody should have won that game. Nobody deserves a win.
If in case you didn't stay up late enough to watch it, folks, the Cowboys did end up winning that game in Pittsburgh last night. Game delayed due to some weather out there in Pittsburgh. We'll get back into the rest of Week 5 in the NFL, but let's start with a look at tonight's game, the Chiefs and the Saints. When we talked to the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtz, this last week, he referred to the Saints as a 4-0 team wearing a 2-2 team's clothing. Believes they're a bit better than their record right now. What's your take on the Saints through 4 games? Through 2 weeks, they were the talk of football after they nuked the Cowboys defense, but a couple of losses that maybe shouldn't have been losses to the Eagles and Falcons have followed. What do you make of this Saints team as they come into Arrowhead tonight?
I think you could argue they should have won the Falcons game. The Eagles should have beat them by 20 points, and they didn't because Nick Sirianni wouldn't stop going for it in ridiculous situations like that. I mean, if you look at the yardage in that game, and I don't have it in front of me, the Eagles like almost doubled them or maybe even did double them up. I mean, it was absurd. So, look, they deserve to lose that game. The Falcons game, I think, was pretty even. Both teams made mistakes. It was a wonky game. I think the Saints are an average team. I think they're an average team. I don't think they're great. I don't think they're bad. I think they're going to finish somewhere around 500. I will say this. While a lot of people, and rightfully so, focused on Chiefs injuries, the Saints are beat up to oblivion coming into this game. Willie Gay's not playing. They are missing almost every starter on their offensive line. In some cases, they're down to their third stringers on the interior. This should be a game where the Chiefs can get a ton of push, whether it's in the run game, whether it's getting after Carr. Like this is genuinely a game Chris Jones could have 4 sacks in this game. Like, I don't know what the Saints are going to do to stop him. And it sounds silly because Taysom Hill's kind of looked at like, oh, he's this nice little gadget player. Taysom Hill's not being there is a big deal for them. They use him in a lot of ways. He's out for this game. So, like, I think the Saints, look, I don't expect the Chiefs to go in there and beat them by 20. They don't beat anybody by 20. But I do think that even with Rice being out, Pacheco being out, the Chiefs should win this football game.
The Saints scored 40-plus each of the first 2 weeks this season against Carolina and Dallas. They've been held to 12 and 24 points in their 2 games since. As you mentioned, they won't have Taysom Hill, and he's a genuine weapon for them, particularly in short yardage. But what is the truth about this Saints offense with Derek Carr, with Clint Kubiak calling the plays? What's the truth about this group? Are they closer to that group that could erupt the way that they looked in the first 2 weeks, or are they closer to the group that was stifled by Philadelphia at home in week 3? Where does the truth lie with the Saints right now?
Well, I think with all the injuries, they're much closer to the second group because they can't block. I mean, right now, when they're healthy, it's a pretty good offensive line. They can't block anybody right now. I mean, they are just, even rookie Talisi Flaga, who's played well for them, he's going to play. He's been limited all week. He's got a back injury. He's got a knee injury. I mean, they are just beat up. They're missing all kinds of guys up front. So, look, the hard thing for them is everything starts with the run game. They run the ball. Going into week 4, they ran the ball more than any team in the NFL except for Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and they were all tied atop. So they pound the football. And they throw the ball less than anybody in the league outside of the Chargers. So this is a team, like the Saints don't want to get into a game where they're airing it out and they're asking Carr to throw 40 times. Like, that is not how they want to play. They want to play where they're running 40 times, they're throwing 25 times, and they're just grounding you down. And I don't think they could do that in this game. The Chiefs have been awesome against the run all year long. The Chiefs are very healthy defensively. I do think that the Chiefs up front are going to be a nightmare for this beat-up line to deal with. I just do not think the interior of the Saints, with all these guys missing, I do not think have any answers for Kansas City. I don't think they're going to stop Jones. I don't think in the run game they're going to be able to move Pennell or Noddy. I think Wharton could have a game like this. This is the game where if you're the Saints, you kind of have to go against who you've been and say, look, we're going to have to get chunky yardage with Shaheed and Olave in this game. And if you're Spagnuolo, I think that's the whole thing. You cannot let them get over the top and get cheap touchdowns. If they can go 12 plays and beat you, fine. I don't think with this group up front they can go 12 plays more than maybe once or twice. So I think that's probably the goal you have to aim for.
We're joined by Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. And Matt, is this the night, the first game of the year, the Chiefs are finally defensively not going to give up points on an opening drive?
Well, it does seem like a tradition that they're pretty into. They are all about it. No, I'll say they give up points because that's what they've done all year long, and they've really not even put up any resistance. It's weird. They give up points. They look like they're going to give up 50, and then they give up like 3 the entire rest of the game. So I don't know what the reasoning is for that. You would think with as well coached as they are, it'd be the opposite. They'd be awesome out of the gate. But like this is a weird game in the sense that if New Orleans can get up, they can then play the way they want to play. And that's where, if you're Kansas City, the game does become a little bit janky. If the Chiefs can, for once, come out strong and get up 10 points, the Saints have a real problem. Because at that point, Carr's now got to start throwing. The Chiefs can pin their ears back. Spagnuolo can blitz. And that's an underrated part of this, too, tonight. If this game was in the Superdome, I'd feel a little bit differently. It is going to be very hard to communicate. These are guys who have not played a lot with each other. They are guys that have not played a lot, period, in the NFL in some cases. And you've got to deal with all the communication of trying to call out their blitz packages and what's going on and who's where. Now, Carr's seen it. So Carr does have that advantage, but that line doesn't. And that's something where I could see if the Chiefs get up by a couple of scores at some point in this game, the Saints are in a lot of trouble. They're just not going to have time to throw deep shots. They're not going to be able to call them. So I think the early part of this game is very important for Kansas City. They fall behind. The Saints can kind of control the way they want to play it and mitigate some of those issues. If the Chiefs get ahead of them, it exacerbates a lot of those problems for New Orleans.
And it looks like McCole Hardman not going to play tonight. He's questionable. Every indication is it feels like that he's not going to play tonight. And then Kareem Hunt's going to get the start at running back. So obviously things are going to look a lot different for the backs and receivers for the Chiefs tonight. But you have Travis Kelce. Is this going to be another game where you think we're going to see him get a lot of targets?
Yeah, I think so. And I think he's going to have a big night because Willie Gay, ironically, would probably be the one who was going to guard him to some extent. They do not have Willie Gay available. He had a hand surgery, so he's out. Demario Davis is an all-pro. He's a great player, but he's not a coverage backer. Like, you're not going to ask Demario Davis to cover Kelce, which would be interesting because I believe they're both 35 years old. So that would be quite a battle. You might see Tyrann Mathieu on him to some extent. You might see that, which would be another friendly face. But yes, I think if you're the Chiefs in this game, look, let's be real about it. Other than Worthy, where are the Chiefs going? Now to me the big question is, with Rice out, whether it's for 6 to 8 weeks or 6 to 8 months, who's playing in the slot for them? Because it's not going to be Worthy, and it's not going to be Watson. It's going to be Juju or Sky Moore. And for me, I can't imagine why it wouldn't be Juju, but the Chiefs have had this thing that they think they can fix Sky Moore. I'll be very curious tonight who gets the bulk of the snaps inside.
Matt Verderame is our guest. He is our NFL Insider, covers the league for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. You can hear him on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline every Monday at this time here on 580 Sports Talk. Pivoting to the rest of the league in week number 5, and I phrased it in a certain way to open the show that I'm not entirely sure how to pinpoint who is good based on the results of the first 5 weeks. But let me frame it to you a different way. Which teams, based on what you've seen the first 5 weeks, do you feel like you trust through 5 weeks?
It's a good question. Look, I would I would say Detroit. I think Detroit's really good. That might literally be it in the NFC. I think Tampa's good, but like I don't think Tampa can win the Super Bowl. Like I think Tampa's like they're 10-7. I kind of feel the same way about Atlanta. I think those two teams are pretty similar. But like Washington, Daniels looks great. The problem is you can't stop. Like when they play good offenses, they're going to give up 30+ points. So in the NFC, I still think the Niners eventually get there. But do I trust them right now? No. I mean, how could you? They haven't played well. They're under 500. So I would say Detroit. In the AFC, look, the Chiefs are weird in the sense that they don't blow anybody out. But how could you not trust them? I mean, all they do is win Super Bowl. So they certainly are in that group. I trust Baltimore. I think Baltimore's good. I think Baltimore's kind of found its footing. I mostly trust Houston. Houston's bizarre at times, but I'd say them. And then that's probably it. Buffalo's on the fence from you. The problem with Buffalo is, look, I know their receivers aren't good, but I'm sorry, you can't go 9-30. You just can't. Like, I don't care who your receivers are. If you're a great player, you can't be 9-30. And then I don't know what happened at the end of that game. I was watching that game. I thought Allen got knocked unconscious. And he's back in the game like 2 minutes later, throwing the ball. It was a very bizarre football game.
Where do you think Davante Adams ends up? And when, if at all, do you think a trade is consummated?
I think he'll be traded. I think he'll definitely be traded. The Raiders are terrible. And they don't want to pay that money going forward. And I think Adams is pretty done with that situation. That's been obvious for a while. Everything you hear is Jets, Saints, because he knows Derek Carr from college, and of course knows the Raiders, and the Jets obviously have Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to go to the Jets. I just think at some point, if Rodgers goes into Joe Douglas's office and is like, "Get me Davante Adams now," or I'm going to go public with the fact that I'm unhappy about it. I mean, what have the Jets done to show you that they're going to stand up to that? Nothing. Like there's no indication. And I just think if you're the Jets at this point, like I've heard the argument from people, well, they're 2-3. They play Buffalo on Monday night. If they lose that game, like, would you even give up a second round pick? But my whole thing with the Jets is you're all in anyway. Like you might as well just do it. I mean, it's not like you're sitting there going, well, we're going to go into a soft relaunch. You're not. You have Rodgers. You, at this point, have pushed all the chips in anyway. So if I'm the Jets, now I will say this up front, I don't think it fixes the Jets. Because unless Davante Adams is a coach, you're not fixing the Jets. But I think if you're them, that's enough of a balm, of a tonic, that it appeases fans and some people in the building. And I just think if you're them, at some point you're going to go, yeah, you know what? We'll go out and get him. Not, could the Bills make a move? Could the Steelers make a move? Yeah, maybe. I don't know that he wants to go to the Steelers with that situation at quarterback. And I don't know if the Bills can do it financially because he's going to want more money down the road. They're going to want to restructure. And I just don't know. Buffalo's cap situation is a mess going forward. That's going to be a very hard thing.
You've already mentioned a couple of teams, Matt. We'll make this the last one. You mentioned a couple of teams that are off to slow starts. You think the 49ers will find their footing. You're less certain, I can tell, about the Jets. Let me ask you about another team, the 1-4 Cincinnati Bengals. Is that done and dusted, or are they good enough offensively that they can maybe rally if they get something figured out on the defensive side?
I still think they're going to make the playoffs. I do. Because their schedule's a joke. Their schedule's not hard. Now, they got to have those divisional games, but Cleveland's an absolute tire fire. And I don't think Pittsburgh can score enough points to beat the Bengals. So, look, I think they'll probably lose when they play at Baltimore. And there's a few other games they can lose. They play the Chargers. That could be a weird game. And they play Dallas, and they play Philly. So it's not a cakewalk. But, look around the AFC. Who's that much better that you're like, well, there's no way. Okay, look, I don't think they're going to catch Kansas City. Other than that, and I guess I would throw in Baltimore because I just think Baltimore beat them once, they'll beat them home. They could be a wild card team. I don't think they're going to win the division, but could they be a 5 or a 6 seed and a terrifying one? Yeah, they could be. I will say though, at some point you said it, like the defense is just an unmitigated disaster. Like you got to be able to go field occasionally, and I think Anarumo is a really good coordinator. I think he'll figure out something, but that does threaten to sink the season.
Matt Verderame covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. You can catch him also on his subscriber-only Patreon, The Matt Verderame Show. For more info on that, follow Matt at Matt Verderame on Twitter. He joins us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, a pleasure. Enjoy the Chiefs tonight.
Hey, thanks a lot. Take care.
That is Matt Verderame. We'll take a break, come back, give you our predictions for Chiefs Saints after this to wrap up the 3 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. Coming up in hour number 2, we're talking baseball. Royals-Yankees, Game 2 of the ALDS tonight. We'll give a little bit of a recap of Game 1. And the thing I saw in Game 1 that makes me feel the best about the Royals, not just making this a series, but having a chance to win it. Plus, we'll do our first What Is Wrong With You of the week and talk some college football in the 4 o'clock hour as well. But first, we're wrapping up this 3 o'clock hour with our game predictions. These are our predictions and, of course, our big Chiefs for tonight's Monday Night Football game between the Chiefs and the Saints. Right now, according to our friends at Prairie Band Sportsbook, the Chiefs are 5.5-point favorites, minus 245 on the money line. So that is an implied 71% chance of victory. And the total, the over-under, is 43. With that, Spencer, give me a big Chief and a game pick.
Easy. Chris Jones. You heard Matt Verderame talked about the depleted offensive line for the Saints. I think he's got at least 2 sacks in him tonight.
Okay. And then what's your prediction?
Chiefs 27, Saints 24. I think garbage time touchdown from the Saints makes it close.
The old backdoor cover, perhaps, for New Orleans. And over on the total. Well over on the total. Brendan's going with Travis Kelce as his big Chief for tonight and has the Chiefs by 1, 22-21. So Saints covering and right on that over-under. I'm on that number as well. I have a different tight end as my big Chief, just for the sake of picking someone different. The Chiefs are only going to have 5 active wide receivers tonight. They're not elevating anyone from the practice squad. That means I think we're going to see a lot of 2 and 3 tight end stuff. Noah Gray, have a day. I think this is a Noah Gray game. I think that he's a guy who's going to make maybe not like a bunch of catches, but I think he's going to have some impactful moments in tonight's game on offense for the Chiefs. I'd like the Chiefs to pull it out, but I can't pick them to win by 5.5 or more. Not their style. So I'll go with the Chiefs, 23-20. Talking Royals baseball when we start the 4 o'clock hour next on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2 on this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. A supersized red/blue Monday edition of the program here on 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our video stream. You can check us out on YouTube. Our channel is 580 Sports Talk. Thanks to those who are watching us live today and jumping into the YouTube live chat to interact with us and your fellow listeners. Also, welcome to those watching on Facebook, WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis running the two-man game this afternoon. Brendan Dworzinski out today. He'll be back on tomorrow's show. Top City Mail Supply text line is open. If you want to be the third man in, text us, 785-272-9429, 785-272-9429 is the Top City Metal Supply text line number. Want to hear what your plans are? Text the show today, 785-272-9429. Or let us know in the YouTube comments if you are watching on YouTube. Big sports night, obviously. If you're a Royals fan, you're a Chiefs fan, you got both teams on at the same time. What I want to know is, what is your plan to consume sports tonight? What's your setup look like? You got big screen, small screen. You got big screen, secondary screen, like tablet, phone, computer, something like that. You got just one game you're going to really dial in on and maybe DVR the other. I don't know that that's really workable. I hate not watching sports live.
Like, sports are meant to be consumed live, and that's it.
Unless
you're rewatching a Super Bowl or something.
Like I do it for work purposes. Like the Friday night when KU and K-State played and I was doing high school football. Like, I obviously was aware of what the score was, what was going on in the games, but I DVR'd those games to watch them back for the purposes of being able to talk about what happened in the games. So that's one thing. But like the other night, I was delayed watching the Seahawks-Lions game, the Monday Night Football game, and I paused it at the start. And I didn't get to it until about 45 minutes into it. So by the time I caught up with the second half kickoff, and I hated it. Like, it was fun. It's nice to be able to watch it fast, but it bothered me. Like, I couldn't look at Twitter. I couldn't open up my phone at all. I had to mute all my texts just in case something happened. Yeah, I much prefer to watch them live. So I want to know your plans tonight for the Chiefs and the Royals. You can text them 785-272-9429. You can also drop them in the YouTube live chat. Our plans on the Alpha Media family of stations are to bring you Royals baseball right here, 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. You don't have to touch that dial. We're off the air at 6 o'clock. We hand it right to the Royals Baseball Network. First pitch from Yankee Stadium at 6:38 for Game 2 of the American League Division Series. If you want to hear Mitch and the crew call the Chiefs tonight, they will be in our sister station, the Big 94.5 Country, 94.5 FM, WIBW FM. In case you did not know, those are the call letters for our FM sister station, WIBW FM 94.5. That is where you can hear the Chiefs. 7:15 kickoff. Their pregame also begins at 6 o'clock. Before we get into the Royals, I got to give you another keyword to win, potentially, to enter to win a 10-day trip to Europe, an international vacation. We're giving away 580WIBW.com. There's a link at the top left of the page. Listen to win a 10-day trip to Europe. That's what the link says. You click on it. It's going to ask you for a keyword. We're going to have a new keyword every hour of the day between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. from now until October 18th. And you enter the keyword every hour, and the more keywords you enter, the better a chance you have to go and win. But you got to go to our website, 580WIBW.com, to enter this hour's keyword. A thing we hope you do, a thing we hope the Royals and the Chiefs do tonight. Win. The keyword is win. W-I-N, win. 580WIBW.com to win a 10-day trip to Europe.
It is on the website, not our text line.
Yes. Do not text us the keywords. Do not put them in the YouTube live chat.
No.
Go to 580wibw.com, click on the link on the left side of the page, listen to win a 10-day trip to Europe, and then you drop it in. The keyword is win. Royals did not win game one of the American League Division Series. And look, this series is a long way from over. It's best of 5. You don't feel great going down 1-0 in a short series, but you still feel like the Royals have starting pitching advantages in the next 2 games. Ragans and Rodon tonight. Advantage Royals. Lugo hasn't been officially announced, but he's pitching game 3. Clark Schmidt has been announced as a Yankees game 3 starter. Advantage Royals, but man, you got a chance to beat the other team's ace in game 1. You got to finish that deal. And the Royals had every opportunity on Saturday night, and they couldn't do it. And that stings to have the lead that many times, including into the 6th inning, and you can't close it out. And it's probably a good thing that they had the day off yesterday for 2 reasons. Number 1, to lick their wounds a little bit, but also number 2, to reset the bullpen, because Michael Wacha didn't get out of the 5th, and the Royals had to use their plus side guys. Lucas Erceg got him 4 outs. Gives them a day off. You should be able to reload, and everybody should be available. It should be all hands on deck for the Royals tonight for game 2. Before we get to the thing that I liked about game 1, we have to talk about the thing that nobody liked, at least nobody around here. Look, I watched it live, and then I watched the replays at home. And the more that I've seen them, the more I become convinced that Jazz Chisholm was out at second base in the 7th inning.
Oh yeah, 100%. I got a tweet from a Yankee fan that I know from my past radio time, and he literally said he was out. He agreed. Come on.
I understand that the standard is if it's too close to overturn, you can't overturn it. I get it. I just don't know that it was too close to overturn. I thought that there were a couple of replays, especially the slow-mo one into the bag, where it looked to be pretty clear that tag was down before Jazz Chisholm's shoe touched second base. I thought Jazz was out. And
I think the whole world did too.
Instead, he was the winning run.
Yeah, and I'm going to be that guy, and I'm going to say the fix was in.
Oh, God. We're doing that?
Yes,
You're
doing that.
You're doing that. The views and opinions expressed by Spencer Dupuis do not represent the views and opinions of the rest of the 580 Sports Talk crew.
No, I think it's a fix. I think you have to have the Yankees in the CS, so I think it's a fix. And I think that you'll see that going forward, too. They're the biggest market in baseball.
They are.
Right?
They are.
The New York market, Kansas City market, New York market 1,000 times with the number of people. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
See, I understand feeling that way, but we are the same radio program that has sat here behind the microphone after God knows how many big Chiefs games the Mahomes era. And every time there's a call that has the entire internet rending their garments and saying the fix is in for the Chiefs because of Mahomes or because of Taylor Swift or because of State Farm Insurance or whatever the reason is, that the NFL, who would screw up a 2-car funeral, by the way, as an organization, the NFL is rigging the league for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we sit here and say, look, don't leave it up to the refs. Play better. Look, it's not a bad call. It's just referees make mistakes. It happens a lot. You watch enough baseball, you know, sometimes, especially home plate umpires, they're not real good at their jobs. They're not. Like, relative to, like, us, they're really good at their jobs. But it's really hard to be perfect at that job, and they're not perfect. And they're a lot more imperfect than I think is acceptable, because the strike zone is in the rule book. The strike zone is not a judgment thing. There's a rule book strike zone, and if the umpires can't be trusted to call it right, then something else needs to be entrusted to that. I'm more upset about the 2-2 pitch that the home plate umpire Adam Hamari missed to Gleyber Torres in the 5th inning that would have been out number 1 than I am about Chisholm being called safe on review. I think they were both bad, but I'm more upset about the missed call on a perfectly executed pitch that should have been a strike. But we can't be the radio program that tells football fans everywhere, deal with it, and then come on here and talk about the fix being in for the New York Yankees. Because if the fix were in for the Yankees, they'd have played in more World Series than the Royals have since the first Obama administration, which is not the case. Which is wild to think about, that since the end of the first Bush term, W, not HW, the Royals have played in more World Series than the New York Yankees have, which is a wild thing to consider. So I agree with those of you on the text line from the 785. Don't walk 8 guys and we win. Cameron is in the YouTube live chat. Doesn't matter if Jazz was out or not. You can't walk 8 guys. Paul is exactly right as well. A better throw from Salvador Perez, and Chisholm's out by a lot. It was a bad throw. Freddie Fermin would have thrown him out. That's an uncomfortable conversation to have a little later down the line, but Freddie Fermin would have thrown Jazz Chisholm out by 6 feet. So, yeah, we got to be ideologically consistent here, I think, and point out that the game is still there to be won if you throw more strikes. If you don't let, and this was the part of the game that really aggravated me, who are the guys who got the big hits for the Yankees after Garrett Hampson's big hit in the 6th? It was Austin Wells, who'd been 1 for his last 31, hadn't hit a lick in September, and Alex Verdugo, who's been miserable all year. Those are the guys. We talked about this on Friday when we previewed the series. The Yankees have been carried all year long by Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. If you keep those guys in check, you're going to have a great chance to win this series. And that's what the Royals did. Judge struck out 3 times. Soto had 3 hits, but none of them amounted to anything. They kept those guys from making a real big impact in the ball game, but it's Austin Wells and it's Alex Verdugo beating you, and that's what's incredibly frustrating. That is what bothers me. Mark points out that Vance Wilson shouldn't have sent Salvador Perez on the hit by, who was that had that hit in that? Was that Isbell? I can't remember,
but I agree with that. I agree with that statement as well.
See, you made Juan Soto, not known for his defense, make a perfect throw, and he did.
He's got pretty good defense.
It's not great defense.
I remember seeing a bunch of throws.
He's not Roberto Clemente out there. Like, he got an okay arm. Like, I'm okay.
I think he's got
you're the
average to above average.
You're the road team. It's early. I was okay with that send. Salvi was out by a lot. It was a perfect throw. Like, I'm okay with that. Put some pressure on the defense. Put some pressure on the home team in that series. I was okay with that. It ended up not working out, but I'm that one is it was Tommy Pham. Cameron corrected me in the YouTube live chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was okay with that. It just didn't work out. But that was another thing that was frustrating about the game is you had Garrett Cole on the ropes and you couldn't beat their ace in game 1. And that's the part, honestly, that sticks with me longer than any of the umpiring calls is you got an opportunity to go win that game. You're having great at bats. You're stinging the ball off of Garrett Cole, their ace, their guy, and you have plenty on offense to show for it. But pitching was a letdown at the worst possible moment. And you walk 8 guys, you walk in 2 runs, give them free runs. Those guys just stand there, make them put the ball in play, make them do some damage. And the Royals were not able to do that. So that's the bad. That's what we don't like from game 1. Here's what I did like from game 1. Remember the name I just said about the guy who got the big hit in the 6th inning to put the Royals in front? Garrett Hampson, of all people, right? It's Garrett Hampson slashing one through the drawn-in infield for a 2-run single that put the Royals back in the lead in the top of the 6th inning. And prior to that, it was MJ Melendez with a 2-run home run over the short fence in right center field that put the Royals in front after Gleyber Torres had put the Yankees in front with a home run of his own. If the Yankees are a team that is star dependent, at least they've got 2. The Royals are a star dependent team with 1 superstar. So it is, again, what we talked about on Friday's show. Somebody's else, plural, has to have a good series. You have to get production from throughout the lineup. And really, over the last 2 weeks of the regular season and even into the division series, right? We were waiting for that to happen, and it just hasn't. That this lineup has become overly reliant on, well, if Bobby Witt Jr. doesn't do it, we don't really know what to do. And the runs per game and the batting averages, runners in scoring position dropped accordingly. Well, it was a good sign for the Royals that guys like Tommy Pham were having good at-bats, and MJ Melendez, really, you tack on the division series where he had some good at-bats. MJ's seeing it as well as he's seen it in the first 3 playoff games. That's a positive. Garrett Hampson contributing is an undeniable positive. Anything you get from him is gravy. It's good to see team-wide some good at-bats for a change. I don't think the offense had looked like that since, the Pittsburgh series? You got to go back to, the beginning of September?
Yeah, I was talking to our engineer, Roy, this morning, and I said that offense, obviously not a Royals fan here, as a baseball fan, that game offensively was something that you could like ask for Christmas.
Yeah, it was a really good game.
Yeah. And the run scoring from the Royals surprised me just because of how they haven't scored a lot of runs. And it wasn't coming from the big guys.
How many times did they score 5 or more runs in the waning weeks of the regular season? I'm pulling up their schedule right now.
Maybe twice, I feel like.
So they scored 7 in the finale against Washington. They scored 6 in that loss to Detroit, the one they had a 4-0 lead and got away. They scored, you have to go back to the Pittsburgh series where they did it more than once in a series. They had 5 in a win. They had 8 in a win. But yeah, that's a stretch of how many games is that? Going back to the finale in New York, that was a 16-game stretch where they scored more than 4 runs 4 times in 16 games.
And they did it from unlikely heroes.
Right. That's the point I'm making. And the point is being made from the other side by some of our listeners here. We got a text from 785. Almost beat them even with Witt going 0 for 5. Yeah. And Laramie points it out too. Hard to win when Bobby Witt Jr. doesn't contribute offensively. So both teams, I think, get to say that. Both teams, the Royals think, God dang, if only we could have gotten something out of our big dogs. I've said it all year long. The refrain. The big dogs on offense have to eat for the Royals. I mean, look. And they didn't. Salvador Perez and Vinny Pasquantino and Bobby Witt Jr. were non-factors offensively in that game.
They combined 1 for 14 with 3 strikeouts. That can't happen in wins.
Yeah. Typically, that is not a recipe for winning, right? Yeah. That has not been a recipe for winning throughout this season. So if you're the Royals, you feel like, well, gosh, if we can get good at bats from the other spots in our order like we did in game 1, and we get our big dogs going, we're going to be in good shape. The problem is, if you're the Yankees, you say, hey, man, we scored 6. We won this game, and Aaron Judge didn't give a squat. And Juan Soto didn't drive in any runs. We got the production from our dregs in our lineup. But we got Alex Verdugo, who they've been trying to boo out of the Bronx for the better part of 6 months because they didn't like him from the beginning because he was a Red Sox. They've been trying to boo him out of Yankee Stadium the whole season, and he's the guy that delivers the winning hit in game 1. So I think both sides get to feel that way. But again, if you're the Royals, you feel like, well, we got the pitching advantage these next 2 games. Eventually the series is going to get back to our ballpark. Not all is not lost here. That is a very different way to lose a game than the Tigers lost game 1, where they gave up a billion runs before they got an out. That's demoralizing. That's a demoralizing way to lose a game. Royals, frustrating way to lose a game, but in no way did it feel like the Royals did not belong on the field with the Yankees or that they can't make this a series. And that's kind of what you're looking for from game 1. Whether you win it or not, at least want to be competitive. Royals were competitive. And I think they have a chance to be competitive again tonight with Cole Ragans on the mound. That's what this team has done well from game 1 all the way through to now, is they have proven the old baseball adage to be true. Momentum is exactly as good as your starting pitcher in the next game. That's what momentum is in baseball. Momentum's got nothing to do with how you won the last game or how many runs you scored in the last game. No, momentum is the way you feel when you walk into the ballpark and you look at the lineup and you look at that slot with the letter P next to it and you say, "Oh yeah, we got a horse. We got our stud. We got an advantage in that square tonight. We got an advantage on the mound tonight with Cole Ragans, who's got a .87 earned run average since the start of September." That's where the Royals are at in this series. Now, they got to score some more runs. They got to have more good at-bats to make that count. But they're in good position tonight to make this a series, to go and get one in New York. And that's all you're trying to do if you're the visiting team in a best-of-5. You're trying to yank home field back, no pun intended, and the opportunity is there for the Royals even after a frustrating game 1. Again, game 2 of the series tonight, a 6:38 first pitch, 6 o'clock pregame from the Royals Baseball Network right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. We're going to take a break. We'll talk some more Royals later on in the program. We got some college football to get to as well, some more NFL as we go along. But first, it's our first round of What is Wrong with You for this week of October. The first full week of October shows here on the program. That's coming up. You're listening to 580 Sports Talk.
Get set up with checking, savings, or money market accounts.
We offer online and mobile banking with services such as Zelle, external transfers, mobile deposit, and bill pay, making it easy to choose Farmer State Bank as your community bank.
That's what I like about Farmer State Bank. Hometown banking with your neighbors and friends. That's what I like about Farmer State Bank.
In Holton, member FDIC.
If you're contemplating a new heating or cooling system in your current home or planning new construction, you'll kick yourself if you don't price geothermal. People in this area who've gone geothermal absolutely love it. They get quiet, even comfort. Save about half, even up to 75% on their monthly heating and cooling bills. A water furnace system usually pays for itself by about year 7. Choose the experienced geothermal heating and cooling professionals, Ground Source Incorporated. They've installed hundreds of geothermal water furnace systems in our area. Let Julie and Tim Dugan do a free heat load analysis and estimate. If you've been waiting, now's the time to take advantage because the renewable energy tax credit is 30%. Use the Earth's reliable, renewable, natural energy to save money month after month. Talk to Ground Source, the geothermal professionals in Kansas. Call them at their Holton office and get comfortable with significant savings.
Ground Source, water furnace, smarter from the ground up.
Have you heard you can listen to your favorite news podcast ad-free? Good news! With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. Enjoy shows like The Daily, Up First, and Consider This, available ad-free on Amazon Music. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free. That's amazon.com/ad-free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
WIBW, Topeka.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
It is What Is Wrong With You time here on 580 Sports Talk. 2 new stories to start this Monday. Spencer, go ahead and lead us off. You got a Florida story for us.
Yeah, we're going back to the best state for wild stories, Florida. Won't say anything else about that state because I've only been there a couple times. A man allegedly struck a Florida woman with a drill and stole her car while she was pumping gas at a gas station in Miami. Alexander Gomez is behind bars after he reportedly used the power tool to hit the woman and pinch her car keys in Northwest Miami-Dade on Monday, September 30th. The incident took place at a gas station on Northwest 186th Street and near the intersection of Northwest 67th Avenue shortly after 10 a.m. The 47-year-old walked up to the victim while she was pumping gas, according to NBC Miami. Gonzalez then proceeded to forcefully take the keys from her hand while striking her with a drill. Another individual stepped in to try and stop Gomez, but he then hit them on the head with the drill. He never got far, though, however, as he was located by police at Northwest 191st Street and Northwest 67th Court. He was allegedly in possession of the drill and the victim's keys. He was arrested and provided a confession on camera. Police said he has since been charged with armed robbery and aggravated battery.
So he's had drill on him.
Yeah.
That was his weapon of choice.
Yeah, he used the drill.
Do you think it was one of those like with the heavy bottom, like the?
I feel like it's got to be the big battery is the bottom.
Big battery pack. Yeah, you really do some damage with that. It's not like the handheld screwdriver.
No.
Like, yeah, you got the bam with the battery. Yeah, you do some damage with that. To say nothing of the business end, which you could do some damage with as well. For my story today, we are going to a Georgia nursing home on Tybee Island, where an argument over who stole Vienna sausages ended with one man being stabbed. You familiar with the Vienna sausages, the little canned sausages?
Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah. Not my favorite either. Apparently, they're worth stabbing somebody over. Tybee Island police say they were called to a nursing home last week where they found a man who'd been stabbed in the chest. Investigators say one man accused another of stealing his can of Vienna sausages. During the argument, one man pulled out a knife and stabbed the other. It's unclear if the man who was stabbed was the one who lost the sausages or not. The injured resident was taken to the hospital. The other resident was arrested and charged with aggravated assault and possession of a knife during the commission of a crime. It's still unclear if the sausages were actually stolen. So we don't even know if what started the fight actually happened. Very unclear. But we know that somebody got stabbed over some Vienna sausages. That's what happened. I'm going to say that
this is a nursing home.
In a nursing home.
So, like, you're an elderly person. What better do you have to do than fight over Vienna sausages, I guess?
You see these people every day, right? Living in assisted living in a nursing home. They got to be so fed up with that one person to escalate it to that over Vienna sausages. I guarantee you that was not the first offense that the stabber felt had been committed upon them by the stabbee. And we don't even know if there was an offense. We still haven't found the Vienna sausages. They are unaccounted for. Could have been a third person.
Yeah.
Just standing and watching like, ooh, this is messy. I enjoy this. Wait a minute. I ate those sausages. They were delicious. Vance asked a good question in the YouTube live chat. What would happen if somebody stole pudding in the event of a pudding theft? Yeah, I think you'd have like chairs flying. You'd have a full-scale brawl. Paul says, mess around, you get little smokied. That's pretty good. I think the Vienna sausage stabbing wins today.
I don't know.
People got stabbed in a nursing home over the fact that it was at a nursing home.
This guy brought a power tool out and hit somebody in the head to steal their car, but didn't get far because he had the power tool and the keys in the hand.
This is true. It is a wild thing to commit a crime with, but I stand and contend that it is much stranger to commit a crime over Vienna sausages that have gone missing.
I guess.
Like, they're not even that good, right? Like, they're not that delicious. They sit in that juice. It's kind of gross even just talking about them. We'll put it to the listeners. How about that? Comment in the YouTube live chat or text us 785-272-9429. The drill assault or the Vienna sausage stabbing? Which story should move on as our champion on What Is Wrong With You? We report, and today, you, the listeners, decide. We'll take a break. We'll come back. KU football is living a nightmare. We will discuss that and the rest of the doings from the college football weekend. Plus, your plans for tonight as a Chiefs/Royals fan. How are you going to be watching the game? Let us know in the YouTube comments. Let us know on the text line. We'll talk about it next on 580 Sports Talk. During the break, it's unanimous. It is going to be the Vienna sausage stabbing that moves on. Paul in the YouTube comments says, roughly 90% positive. We can't name it. Have you seen my wieners? Wrong, Paul. That's exactly what we're going to call it. Have you seen my wieners? That's our winner on What Is Wrong With You. Thanks to all who participated in the democratic process today. Text line is open. Top State Mail Supply text line 785-272-9429. We want to hear from you folks today, either on the text line or in the YouTube live chat, or hey, if you're watching it on Facebook, leave a comment on WIBW News. Let us know what your game plan is tonight for the Chiefs and the Royals being on at the same time. Royals first pitch 6:38, Chiefs kickoff 7:15. So what are we looking at? First of all, let's ask ourselves. Let's talk amongst ourselves. Spencer, what is your plan? What is your layout tonight for the Chiefs and the Royals?
We talked about this a little bit last week, and I'm just gonna ride. I'm gonna have 2 TV layout.
Sure,
that's the new thing in the household lately.
Sure.
I'm gonna ride the hot hand. Right. Obviously, we have 40 minutes before kickoff, roughly.
So you start obviously.
So I'm gonna start
Royals
with the Royals. That'll be on the main screen, playoffs main screen.
Sure,
and then. If it's, 1, 2, 3, maybe going to turn it over. If the Chiefs are driving, maybe turn it over.
Okay. So you're going to be nimble tonight between the screens is what I'm hearing. Yeah. I am going to go. So, and you've been to my basement. You know what the sports dungeon looks like at Lucero Manor. I got 3 TVs. I got a small, medium, large, essentially is the setup. But I prefer to sit on the side where the small and the big are in close proximity. So I will probably go Royals predominantly on the big screen. And only coming off the big screen if the game gets out of hand one way or another. Because it is the playoffs and it is baseball. And I'm more of a baseball guy than a football guy. So we'll have the Chiefs on the smaller screen. We'll go Royals on the big screen. Some of our listeners weighing in today.
Wait, hold on. Real question. What is your wild card going on the third screen?
Third screen, that might be my wife gets to watch something that she wants to watch. No, she'll be dialed into both games too. So I don't think we'll have the third screen on tonight. We'll both be watching the Chiefs and the Royals. Our listeners weighing in the YouTube live chat first. Trevor, one on the TV, one on the laptop. He's a game time decision on which will be which. I like that. Vance says Chiefs big screen, Royals on the laptop. And Mark says Chiefs on the radio and the Royals on television. Tyler is going with 2 TV setup. Chiefs bottom screen, Royals top screen, if not on the phone. So that's what we've got here.
Look, I used to give people crap for the 2 screens. Like, do you really need 2 screens kind of thing? I have really evolved from that. And I cannot go on an NFL Sunday or college football Saturday without 2 screens now.
Yeah, you've got to do it. College football especially. That's the best day.
Especially like my team's playing.
Sure.
And then Kansas State or Kansas is playing.
Yeah.
I got to keep track of both. So I've got to have another. I got to keep track of all the above. So I've got to put it on there, and then usually I'll have my Commanders on one screen, and then whatever the best other game is.
Sure. From the text line, Top Email Supply text line. Text from the 620 says going with the big screen and the laptop and some cold beer, which I can respect. Couple folks going to be radio listeners tonight. 785 says flipping between WIBW radio coverages. Another one from the 785. I'm a nighttime courier driver. Radio's fixing to get worn out. Love that. To make it clear, to make it easy on you folks who will be flipping back and forth on the radio dial tonight. Royals on the AM, 580 WIBW or FM 104.9 if you're in Greater Topeka on WIBW AM. That's the Royals destination. If you want to hear the Chiefs, 94.5 FM, the big 94.5 country, WIBW FM.
Here's what you do. If you are in the Greater Topeka area, make sure you're already going to have 104.9, right? That's already one of your
presets.
One of your presets.
Ought to be, yeah.
And you may not be a country listener, right? Well, tonight you're putting 94.5 as your number 2 preset. So all you got to do if you're driving around is press a single button.
There you go. Yeah, just the up or the down, if you will, or if you've got the screen, simple touch screen. Here's one for the 785. I'll be at a bar and grill and I'll hate it the whole time. Listen, I am very similar to many of you, the kind of sports fan who a night like this is more endured than enjoyed until the end of the game. I will tell you, like, oh, are you looking forward to tonight? Ask me again in 5 hours, and I will tell you how much I enjoyed my night. The answer might be a lot. One of the best nights of my life as a sports fan. The answer might be, well, it was okay. The answer might be, it was miserable. I want to be dead. Like, it's going to be one of those three answers tonight. So, like, I get it. Yeah, this is a night for many diehards that is more endured than it is enjoyed.
Yeah. Why we're here before we get into KU?
Sure.
Why don't we let the listeners know about what we're going to do tonight for instant reactions? Because we did kind of leave it up in the air.
We did, and I'm still waffling on this a little bit.
I thought we made a final decision. I was told of a final decision.
Well, so we're going to do, this is what is final. We are going to do on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook, WIBW News, we are going to do separate reaction videos. We are going to go live at the conclusion of the Royals game. And we are going to go live at the conclusion of the Chiefs game. We will do a Royals reaction and we will do a Chiefs reaction. Now, the Royals reaction is going to run, in all probability, probably around the start of the fourth quarter of the Chiefs game. So if you don't catch that live and you catch that on the redirect, you catch that if you're a subscriber to 580 Sports Talk, we understand. Trust us. But we are going to do a separate video. Now, as to the participation, I think we just leave that as a free-for-all. We can be, we can be, you can be on if you want to be on it, as far as you, myself, and Brendan Dworzinski. But you'll hear from us tonight. There will be a Royals video. There will be a Chiefs video on our YouTube and our Facebook.
Look, if you can't make it to watch the Royals one, here's a great idea for you. Because there's usually about a 10 to 15 minute lag time between the end of the game and by the time we end up all getting on and being able to
now
start.
We're gonna try and cut that down tonight a little bit to go fast, but yes, there is usually some lag. Yes,
just start watching the Royals one if you do indeed miss it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So yes, join us tonight on our YouTube channel or Facebook, WIBW News, YouTube channel again, 580 Sports Talk. We will have separate reaction videos tonight. One for the Royals, one for the Chiefs. You've come to expect the Chiefs instant reactions after every Chiefs game, win or lose, and we'll do them for the Royals throughout the playoffs as well. So also, we will have on Wednesday's show, we will have some live, some audio and some live reaction from the ballpark. Your boy, me. I want to be at Kauffman Stadium for Game 3. So, and Game 4 if necessary. So, we'll do some stuff live. We'll have some audio.
Oh, I didn't know you got both credentials.
Oh yeah, man.
There you go.
Yeah, Major League Baseball loves 580 WIBW. They hooked us up. So, yes, we'll have some reporting from inside the K on Wednesday, and we hope Thursday as well. We have to say now we hope for a Game 4 because the Royals lost Game 1. So we want a Game 4. We don't. If they'd won Game 1, we'd say we don't want a Game 4. But now we want a Game 4. Anyhow, that is the plan. That's what we'll do tonight. Now we have to talk about something entirely unpleasant. That is Kansas football. They lost again on Saturday in the final seconds, 14 seconds left to be precise, when Arizona State scored the game-winning touchdown to beat KU 35-31. KU now with a plus 15 scoring differential on the year is 1-5 heading into their bye week. And while it has been in fashion to point the finger at KU's offensive play callers, including Jeff Grimes, I don't think you can really do that after Saturday because the offense was really good. It was the best Jalen Daniels game of the season by some distance. They did not turn the ball over. The running game against a good run defense was effective. Quentin Skinner reappeared on the stage after not being much of a factor early in the season, had 2 touchdowns, including the go-ahead touchdown with 2:04 to play. Spencer, were you watching live at the time, or you had something else going on?
Well, were we doing the instant reaction, or had we finished it yet?
I think we were done with the instant reaction.
I think I was getting back to the TV, and I ended up looking at it, and I was like, what?
So KU scored with 2:04 to go.
Yeah, I didn't see that one, but then I saw it right as the other score happened.
So I have to be honest. My confidence level that KU was going to end up winning that game when they scored to go ahead with 2 minutes and 4 seconds left was somewhere between 0% and 0%. Like I had no faith that the defense could come up with a stop and that they were going to win the football game because I just don't think they know how. And I think there are some other tangible factors too. The defense obviously wore down in the desert heat. They didn't have Kobe Bryant for the better part of the second half after he got hurt. They didn't have Cornell Wheeler. Those are big, big blows to that defense. But all the late game collapses look the same. The tackling is bad. They can't stop a running quarterback. They don't get any push at the line of scrimmage. And the defense, which is capable of playing well for long stretches of the first 45 minutes of games, goes on the fritz when it matters most. Brendan is not here today. We had a texter from the 785 asked if he called in sick with the KU Blues. No, he is hale and hearty. He just has somewhere else he needs to be today, and he'll be back with us tomorrow.
He's attending to work.
Yes, he is. He feels fine. But Brendan wanted me to point this out, that it was unacceptable to let Cam Scadaboo rush for 186 yards on 7.4 yards per carry. Brendan says it's hard to blame the offense when it played by far its best game of the season, but the defense is falling apart, and allowing 313 rushing yards is both unacceptable and embarrassing. And I think that's kind of where we're at. And I think those are the two words that kind of define this season now, and I don't know how KU redefines it. I don't know how it gets better from here. They're not going to a bowl. They're not going 5-1 in their final 6 games. They might beat Houston out of the bye. I have no idea how many people are going to be at Arrowhead Stadium for that game.
No,
but I can tell you this. It's not going to be a lot.
And they keep losing. So guess what that forces them to? You're playing at an NFL stadium, and you're going to be on the plus.
Yes, they're going to be on ESPN Plus.
That's
in 2
2
weeks.
in a row.
When they play Houston. They can win that game.
Yeah.
Maybe. Then what? The Sunflower Showdown. They haven't won that game in a decade and a half. You think this team is going to be the one to snap the streak? I wouldn't put any real faith in that. So then you're what, 2-6, and you have to be perfect the rest of the way? It's not happening. They still got to play Iowa State in what is going to be Jack Trice Stadium South, with how many Cyclones fans come down to Arrowhead for that game. They have to play Colorado at Arrowhead. Who do you think will be favored in that one?
Yeah.
It's the dream season becoming such a nightmare is almost unfathomable. And look, every now and again you have that year where you just don't get the breaks or you don't win the close games, right? Every program has a season like that. The ones who aren't like the big boys, right? Like who can out talent their mistakes. KU's never going to be a program that can do that. But they're 1-5, and they've lost now 5 close games. Well, 4 close games, and TCU got away at the end. You know what it's starting to feel like? And I don't say this in any good way. Guys, remember Nebraska under Scott Frost? You remember in 2021, the Nebraska Cornhuskers went 3-9 with a point differential, I'm not making this up, of 63. They were plus 63 scoring margin, and they went 3-9. And let me tell you what is not desirable, being compared to a Scott Frost Nebraska team.
Yeah.
But that is where KU is. That is where KU finds themselves. And it is a train wreck. It is a nightmare. And any chance they had to pull themselves out of it involved a win on Saturday, and they did not get it. Elsewhere in the Big 12, look who's at the top of the league, folks. Texas Tech. They're the only 3-0 team in the league. I can't figure Arizona out for the life of me. They go on the road and beat Utah, and then they lay an egg. They were bad against Texas Tech on Saturday. So I still don't know how good, be honest, I don't know how good anybody is in this league.
Yeah.
But right now, Texas Tech's the lead dog at 3-0. Iowa State, they go to 2-0. They ran away from Baylor. Baylor surprisingly frisky, but they didn't have enough juice to hang with Iowa State. Oklahoma State flat out quit against West Virginia at home. They were down 24-0 early in that game. That was unacceptable. And again, you want to talk about a team that was set up to be a contender that now it's over for them. It's Oklahoma State. And then UCF got blown out at Florida. And the reason I bring that one up at all, it wasn't a conference game, but the reason I bring that one up at all is, doesn't that result kind of reframe what Colorado did to them 2 weeks ago in Orlando? Because we came out of that game thinking, holy cow, Colorado, Hey, it looked like a real football team. They pounded UCF. They beat them by 27. They forced 4 turnovers. They manhandled them. Hey, maybe Colorado's got an offensive and a defensive line. Maybe Colorado's got some things figured out as a football team. Then we watch UCF have that happen against Florida and think, oh, maybe UCF's just bad. Hand up, I was wrong about UCF. I thought they could be a low-key contender. KJ Jefferson hasn't gotten any better. In fact, he's probably gotten worse as a quarterback, and they're still too light in the seat to mix it up in the trenches in this league. Maybe I'm a year early on the UCF bandwagon, but no, they are not real contenders. And I think that really reframes what Colorado did to them ahead of Colorado's game this Saturday, of course, against Kansas State. We got to take a break. We'll come back. We will wrap up the 4 o'clock hour 580 Sports Talk right after this. Texter from the 785 points out rightly we jumped over one game in our Big 12 recap. Houston won. A, Houston scored points, and B, Houston won. They beat TCU, which now I think we've gone far enough down the road with TCU where it begs the question, was Max Duggan actually the greatest college football quarterback of all time? Because that team went to the national championship game 2 years ago. And right now, I'm not entirely certain Sonny Dykes is going to be their head coach in 2025. They have gone way, way far in the wrong direction. Also, that makes KU's performance against them look even worse. So, that was a rough one for TCU. And Sonny Dykes has to pull that out of a tailspin because that's looking like it's going the wrong direction. Speaking of pulling out of a tailspin, Spencer had the best week of any of us in the Prairie Band Sportsbook 580 Picks contest this week. He did put the whammy on the Seahawks, which I'm not happy about. There will be a disciplinary measure that will be undertaken off the air. But otherwise, Spencer, perfect, ran the table 4-1 on the week. Congratulations on your victory for the week.
Thank you. I think this week kind of evens us up a lot better than it was.
It does narrow it a bit. I went 3-2. Tough backdoor cover by Ball State against Western Michigan. Wasn't happy about that, but I did go 3-2, and my lock of the week did hit. Brendan, tough week. His lock of the week hits the Packers beating the Rams, but that was the only one. He ended up with a push, too. Rutgers +7. They lost by a touchdown to Nebraska. So Brendan ended up going 1-3-1 this week. So now it is. We're all separated by like a full game.
Yeah.
I'm up by half a game on Brendan. No, I'm up a full game on Brendan because I got 14 wins. He's got 13. We each have a tie. And Brendan's up half a game on you with the tie.
Yeah.
So it's all very tight now. But the real good news is we're getting closer to profitability. And that's what really matters.
Yes.
One more hour of 580 Sports Talk coming up after this. Let's get it. Third and final hour on 580 Sports Talk this Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our video stream. 580 Sports Talk is the YouTube channel. WIBW News is the Facebook page, and you can see our smiling faces as we bring you this final hour of today. So you watch Spencer eat. Spencer, what are you eating? What did you just do? What did you just put in your mouth?
A Chewy bar.
What flavor?
The peanut butter chocolate covered.
Ah, that's always a winner.
Yeah.
I look on the screen and you're eating something.
I knew that was going to come about because you were, I feel like whenever you say you can watch us, you're always looking at the screen. Like whenever I say that too, I'm always looking at the screen.
So yeah, I happened to catch in the act. So that was just for our video viewers there. Those who are watching the video stream. That is Spencer Dupuis. I'm Dan Luceros. Just the two of us today. We can make it if we try. We've got one more hour of today's show to bring you some final thoughts on the big night in Kansas City sports. We'll have some final thoughts on the Chiefs-Saints matchup and also a final preview of Game 2 tonight of the Royals and Yankees series in the American League Division Series. Again, to confirm and clarify, if you want to hear Royals baseball on the radio tonight, you're in the right place. You don't have to do anything. Just leave your radio right here. As soon as we're done, we're handing it off at 6 o'clock to the Royals Baseball Network. 6:38, first pitch from the Bronx, the Yankees and the Royals, as the Royals try to even the series at 1 game apiece. If you would like to hear Chiefs football tonight, flip from the AM to the FM dial, 94.5 FM, the big 94.5 country, will be your home for the Chiefs tonight with Mitch Holtis, Dayton Hughes, and Josh Klingler. Pregame at 6 o'clock, just like the Royals game, but they do a longer pregame. Kickoff at 7:15 tonight from Arrowhead Stadium. That is where you have to go to listen to the ball games tonight. Still want to hear from those of you who plan to watch or listen to both games tonight. What is your plan for this big night? Who's getting the big screen? Who gets the second screen? Who gets the big radio? Who gets who gets top priority if you have to prioritize? Hit us on the Top City Metal Supply text line, 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube stream. Another benefit of watching the show live on YouTube is that you can chat with fellow listeners and your hosts throughout the show in the YouTube live chat. Speaking of benefits, we're giving away a trip to Rome and London and Paris and Venice and lots of other places. We got 10-day.
Wherever you want to go overseas.
Yeah, 10-day international vacation that we're giving away. And you can enter to win using the keyword that we give you every hour for the next 2 weeks. You go to our website, 580WIBW.com, and you click on the link that says, listen to win a 10-day trip to Europe. It's really easy to find on the front page. And you enter in the keyword within the hour in which you hear the keyword. And that keyword gives you an opportunity to register to win the 10-day trip to Europe. This hour's keyword is play. 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 That is your keyword this hour. So you go to 580WIBW.com. You click on that link to win a 10-day trip to Europe. Enter that keyword, play, this hour, and register for your chance to be picked and selected and drawn as our trip winner.
So is this a 10-day trip of your choosing? Or do you would I, if I were to win, I can't win, but if I was a listener and I would, am I bouncing from place to place to place?
My understanding of the trip is that it is a 10-day European getaway. That's what I got for you.
Where would you go in Europe?
Where would I go in Europe?
If you had this 10-day getaway.
I would want to go. I've never been overseas, so I would like to go to Europe someday. I would want to go either to Spain or England. Like going to England, I want to see like a Premier League soccer match in person. I want to experience that, and also I wouldn't have to learn a new language. But I know a little bit of Spanish, maybe enough to get me by if I went out to Spain, and I think that would be really cool to see as well. So
yeah, I'd go to Ireland.
Okay,
family
Sure.
history in Ireland. Was supposed to go for my college graduation.
Hold up.
Not like remote family, but like my mom's family has descendants in Ireland. Like they have castles in Ireland. Like they have legit. I have legit family, not like directly, but like if you go back, like there is an Appleby Castle. That's my mom's maiden name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, not the Dupuis side.
No, that's French Canadian. No.
Of the Dublin Dupuises.
Yeah.
No, listen, I get it. My background, the maiden names of my the names of my grandparents are all over the place. So trust me, I understand. I am America. I am the melting pot. And it sounds like you are too. Anyhow, so that's your keyword this hour is play. Still to come this hour, as I mentioned, some final thoughts on Chiefs Saints. Look ahead to Royals Yankees tonight, but we will start this 5 o'clock hour, as we always do, with our 580 Sports Talk headlines, and we will start with some college football. The kickoff times have been announced for next Saturday. We alluded to one of them. Next Saturday's games, Kansas hosting Houston. The graveyard shift, 2:30 p.m. at Arrowhead Stadium on ESPN Plus. That is where Kansas stands right now in the Big 12. Their next game will be on ESPN Plus at 2:30 next Saturday. K-State has another night game on the road, prime time against West Virginia, a 6:30 Central Time kickoff rather. It will be on one of the Foxes. We don't know yet. Fox or Fox Sports 1. I'm guessing that depends on whether or not there's a National League Championship Series game that night.
Yeah, I would assume so.
So, because I think Fox has the National League playoffs
yes,
this year.
They do.
And TBS has the American League. So, that has not been confirmed like exactly which network, but these are not this coming Saturday's kickoff times. Obviously, this coming Saturday, K-State is at Colorado and KU has a bye. So it is next Saturday, the following Saturday, 2 Saturdays from today. I hope that confirms it as best as I am able to use the English language to do so. KU Houston on the 19th. That is the October 19th kickoff time. 2:30 p.m. for KU at home at Arrowhead Stadium. K-State, 6:30 p.m. in Morgantown. While we're talking college football, the latest college football top 25 polls released yesterday. Texas is your new number one in the AP poll. They remain number one for a second straight week in the USLBM coaches poll. Ohio State, Oregon, 2 and 3 in both polls. Penn State and Georgia, 4-5 in the AP poll. Georgia and Penn State are flip-flopped in the coaches poll. As for teams in the Big 12, Iowa State is your highest-ranked team in both polls. They are in a tie for 11th with Notre Dame in the AP poll. They rank 13th in the coaches poll. BYU is 14th in the AP, 15th in the coaches poll. Utah, 16th in the AP poll, ranked 17th by the coaches. Then you get to K-State. K-State is 19th in the coaches poll. They are in a 3-way tie for 18th in the AP poll. I have been covering sports for a while. I may just not remember, but I don't know that I've ever seen a 3-way tie for a spot in the poll. That's a new one on me. There ought to be a way to break it. Like most, like the highest vote that any team got or something like that, because a tie does not sit well within my soul. I don't like it. I don't like a 3-way tie for 18th. Those are the only Big 12 teams that are ranked: Iowa State, BYU, Utah, and Kansas State. USC, Louisville, and UNLV drop out of the rankings this week. New teams into the rankings: Pitt and SMU in the AP poll, Pitt, SMU, and Boise State in the coaches poll. So those are your latest college football headlines. Spencer, what is your first headline?
My first headline is coming from Kansas City, according to Tom Pelissero of NFL Media. Let me pull it up. This is exact words. Mecole Hardman, who was listed as questionable with a knee injury, will play tonight against the Saints per source. Also, injury news. or I guess NFL news across the land. Patriots defensive captain Jabril Peppers was arrested and charged with strangulation and drug possession.
Not great.
He pled not guilty today after the arrest on Saturday. So not great there. And then an NFL injury headline, Bengals cornerback Dax Hill is out for the season with a knee injury.
He was their best corner, and that was already a defense. Well, let me say this. He was playing their best. He was the corner that was playing the best.
Yeah.
And now he's out for the rest of the year. And that is a huge blow to a defense that was already having all kinds of problems. I want to get back to the McCole Hardman news. That's a huge deal. That has moved the Vegas line. That has moved the line at Prairie Band Sportsbook from Chiefs -5.5 to Chiefs -5.5.
Hey, but it could mean your big Chief pick impact is not what it is.
So
you were suggesting that they wouldn't go with the not calling up a receiver. That'd be 5 wide receivers.
I think it is.
Is it still
going to be because who they're not promoting anybody like you mentioned. There are no practice squad elevations for the Chiefs tonight. So they've got Worthy, Juju, Watson, Sky Moore, and McCole Hardman. I still think that's 5.
Oh, yeah.
And then 4 tight ends because Jody Fortson's on the 53-man roster. We have not seen the inactives yet.
That won't come up until 5:45, maybe.
Yeah, it'll happen while we're on the air.
Yeah, I think it's 90 minutes before kick.
But yeah, that is the anticipation tonight that the Chiefs will go with 5 wide receivers and 4 tight ends. So, like I said at the top, I think we're going to see a lot of like 12 personnel, 13 personnel for the Chiefs tonight. I think they're going to use those tight ends. What if we did a playoff roundup? Does that sound like a good time? I think it sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's do it.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
That's on me. I thought you had it ready. And
no,
I should have bought you more time.
I was like 90% ready.
That's all good. We got a playoff game going on right now. Pitchers duel at Progressive Field. Scoreless into the bottom of the 8th. Between the Tigers and the Guardians in Game 2 of that American League Division Series. Of course, Cleveland leads the series 1-0. Tarek Skubal still in the game for Detroit. 7 3-hit shutout innings with 8 strikeouts and no walks. He is at 92 pitches.
He had a perfecto well into I think it was the 4th inning.
It was the 5th. I think it was the 5th when Naylor doubled.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. So yeah, he has continued to be just absolutely dominant. But the Tigers can't make anything shake at the plate. They have 5 hits and 4 walks, but haven't been able to push anything across. Guardians went to Emmanuel Clase with 2 on and 2 out in the top of the 8th, and he got the final out of the inning. So Cleveland has already deployed their closer, and Detroit, I think, is going to stay with their stud. Might as well. 92 pitches through 7 innings. You may as well stay with him.
Yeah.
Apparently, and I'm watching the replay now, a spectacular diving catch by Stephen Kwan in left field to save a run and keep the game tied to end that top of the 8th inning. So that is where that series stands, very much sitting on a knife's edge. The Tigers and the Guardians tied at 0. Guardians, if they win, they take a 2-0 lead with that series going back to Detroit. If the Tigers win, the series is all even. Both of the National League series are even at a game apiece. We had a wild one at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia yesterday. It was Mark Vientos hitting a tying 2-run home run in the top of the 9th to even the score. You get a 7-6 ball. I don't know if I'm going to be putting on this headset again. I don't know if it's going to be for my bosses at Fox. Any chance I get to reference the
I love that.
The Tom Brenneman apology, I will take it. Nick Castellanos, the winner, an RBI single in the 9th inning to even that series at a game apiece. The Padres and the Dodgers also even at a game apiece after the Padres hit 6 home runs, 2 of them off the bat of Fernando Tatis Jr. in a 10-2 victory over the Dodgers. Longtime listeners to this program know that I grew up in a National League West city, and my favorite team is the National League West team. And so that means I got feelings, and they're not good ones, about the Dodgers and about the Padres and about the Diamondbacks and Giants too, but they're not playing. Who cares? Somebody asked me, who am I rooting for in that series? I'm rooting for the Padres or I'm rooting for the Dodgers. And, it'd be funny to say, I'm rooting for a stadium flattening meteor sometime during game 3. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Yeah, kind of. But also, it's a really easy choice. It's a really easy choice between the Padres and the Dodgers, because the Dodgers have two of the coolest players, maybe the two coolest players in baseball. They have Shohei Ohtani and they have Mookie Betts. Those guys rock. Those guys are awesome. It is impossible to dislike them, no matter all the terrible things and mean and unsporting things they may do in the name of beating my own favorite team. It is impossible to dislike Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts. So they have those two guys. Meanwhile, the Padres have the biggest prima donna and the biggest hot dog in all of baseball. And also Manny Machado plays for that team. So, really easy not to root for that. Maybe an unpopular opinion, I can't stand Fernando Tatis Jr. Cannot stand him. Biggest hot dog in the game, and he's a steroid cheat. So he's that too. I cannot. I hate him. I hate watching him play. I think he's all about me. Look at me. Look how great I am. Can't stand him. Cannot stand Fernando Tatis Jr. Do not like him one bit. And Machado, honestly, I hate just as much. Prima donna, doesn't run out ground balls. I would point at Manny Machado and say that's a guy I do not want my kid to emulate. I would not want my kid to look up to either of those guys. Maybe I had a kid and I turned 55 years old. I don't know what, but I can't stand those guys. And I like Ohtani and Betts. So yeah, I hope the Dodgers win. I don't think they're going to. If you recall, I did make a prediction. I picked the Padres to win the series. I think you saw why I think the Padres are going to win the series last night, because the Dodgers got no left to pitch.
No, I was talking to my buddy who's a Dodgers fan, and we were just talking about Clayton Kershaw and how it seems like the arguably two of the top 10 pitchers from the 2010s arms have completely fallen off.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2024, I mean, those guys are getting up there in years, and it's too bad, because I always admired Kershaw as well, and wanted to see him be able to kind of end his career on his own terms, but that doesn't look like that's necessarily going to happen either. So I would say that those series are finally poised, and I hope we get good series. Like I want to see competitive series all around. I don't like the 3-game sweeps, what have you. I like the fact that things are all even between the home team, between the higher seed and the lower seed in the National League. Text from the 785 submits Freddie Freeman as a likable guy. I've always liked Freddie too. Yeah, even when
he got hurt yesterday. He out of the game.
Sprained it. He's been on a bad wheel, and he re-aggravated it yesterday, and that's another problem for the Dodgers, because their lineup is, it's the damnedest thing. You think about the Dodgers, you think about all that money they got, right? And then you look up and it's like, well, wait a minute, where did that money go? Where that money not on the field right now? I don't know where the money went, but it's not on the field. It's the same thing with the Yankees, honestly. The Yankees tonight are starting John Birdie at first base. He's never played first base as a professional. And they're starting him at first base in a playoff, batting him ninth. So where is all this financial advantage and the money's not on the field? It doesn't it doesn't compute. Doesn't makes my brain hurt a little bit. Christopher, I think, draws a good distinction in the YouTube live comments, because last night's game 2 in the Dodgers Padres series was marred by Dodger fans throwing baseballs at Padres left fielder Jurickson Profar, and also throwing debris at Tatis in right field. Profar was kind of giving it to the fans in left field, but that does not excuse fans for throwing things at players. That's not acceptable, no matter what level of taunting the other team is doing in your direction. Christopher says Dodgers.
There's a 15-minute stoppage, I think.
15 to 20 minutes. Yeah. Christopher says the Dodgers are a good team to root for with classless fans. The Padres are a classless team with good fans. I don't know about good fans. I mean, they got to, right? They're like, what else are they going to root for? Yeah. What else are San Diego sports fans going to root for? The Sockers? They got a minor league hockey team. The Gulls, they lost everything else.
Yeah.
They get really into the Aztecs. I don't know. I'm not fond of either of those teams. As if it was.
I did not realize that San Diego State played their home games at the former Qualcomm Stadium.
Yeah, they had the Holiday Bowl there. Yeah,
They've like reimagined it too.
but yeah, they had to build it real big so they could have a Super Bowl and an NFL team.
Yeah.
Oh, great catch by Parker Meadows in center field and the bottom of the 8th. They're still scoreless going to the 9th in Cleveland. We'll take a break here. That'll wrap up our headlines. When we come back, some final thoughts on the Chiefs and the Saints. Monday Night Football tonight. Final thoughts. We each think the Chiefs are going to win, but this is why I'm trepidatious. We'll talk about it next on 580 Sports Talk. Appropriate. Play a little Enter Sandman on a day where if you're not fired up for something tonight, whether it's the Chiefs or the Royals, or it's the Chiefs and the Royals, and I don't know, if your fire's not lit, your wood may be wet. Dan and Spencer here with you on 580 Sports Talk, 531. We're with you until 6. Chiefs,
I've never heard that phrase before.
never heard that? Doesn't like your fire, your wood's wet?
No.
That's oh gosh, what's the guy's name that does the videos where he pretends to be a Wes Blankenship on Twitter? He does videos where he pretends to be a high school football announcer in the South, and that's one of the bits he came up with. I stole it shamelessly, but it's very funny to me. Anyhow, Chiefs Saints tonight, and look, if the Chiefs win tonight, they'll be 5-0. Did you think they'd be 5-0 through 5? I didn't.
No, I didn't, especially with Hollywood Brown being out and then Rashee Rice being out and then Travis Kelce being in existence.
I don't even mean like as we've gone along. I mean like when you look at the schedule before the season began. I mean, we knew they weren't going to have Hollywood Brown before the season started. But like
I thought the Ravens would get him, honestly.
Given the level of competition that they played in their first 5, did you think 5-0 was a possibility?
I thought they'd be 4-1.
I kind of figured 4-1's a good start, right?
Yeah.
And like
the problem is like they're gonna drop one eventually, right? Like
no, nobody thinks this team's going 17-0.
Yeah. So if they were to lay an egg tonight, like it would happen. It's gonna happen.
I guess I feel like they have been playing with fire, and there's a part of me that worries tonight that the Saints are good enough, they scheme well enough on offense, and that they play aggressively enough on defense, and that the Chiefs have been loose enough with the football, floppy enough that maybe this is the night that they get got. But man, it's Monday night at Arrowhead, and the Saints offensive line is beat to heck.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel a lot better. Like, you know, we do the predictions every week, right? Like we go in every week and we make our predictions. We predict, who's going to win this game. And like, it's really hard not to look on paper each week and say, well, yeah, the team with Patrick Mahomes is probably going to win. Like they've been favored every game so far. They're favored again tonight by 5.5 points up at Prairie Band. But realistically speaking, like the Chiefs aren't going to go 17-0. And sometimes I catch myself when I'm making a prediction, like you can't pick them to win every week, Dan. But like on paper, this is a matchup that feels good for them. They're at home. It's prime time. They've been really good at home in prime time under Reed and with Mahomes at quarterback. And the offensive line for the Saints is in a condition where the Chiefs defense should be able to impose their will on the football game. So even if this one looks ugly, which it very well might, I haven't seen any pretty wins for the Chiefs so far. Still think the Chiefs might push this one over the finish line tonight. But I do wonder, like, every team in the league has had a game, except Minnesota. Somehow, Minnesota is the exception to this rule, where they've gotten got, where they haven't played great. And we've seen it happen to the Chiefs early in the season, to teams I thought were less dangerous than the Saints were. So I keep waiting for a shoe to drop. Not that all of a sudden the Chiefs are bad, just I keep waiting for that early season game where it doesn't work out, where they don't get the stop, where they're too sloppy with the football and the opponent makes them pay. I keep waiting for that game because it's an annual occurrence. It hasn't happened yet. And there's enough to me, like the fact that the betting line has stayed 5.5. Like that, I think is where it opened.
Yeah.
And it's been, and no matter what sports book you look at, it's been in that 5 to 5.5 point range. It just hasn't moved. Like that makes me feel better about the Chiefs winning this game and maybe even doing so by a touchdown or more. But I don't know about the, I just don't know that this is the week that they blow somebody out, right? Like, do they have that in them at this stage? Do they have it in them to go and beat a team by 10, 14, 17 points? This would be a great night to do it. It takes some of the edge off of the Royals game that's going on at the same time, which will be tense because it's the playoffs. I think it would do some people a lot of favors. If the Chiefs just come out, take a 14-0 first quarter lead and put it in cruise control and go win a game handily.
Yeah, and if they go win this game handily, they got the bye week coming up next week. McCole Hardman can get fully better. He's about the only, and I guess, who else? Nick. Who am I thinking of? Linebacker.
Bolton?
Yeah, Bolton. He's hurt, but he's playing. So I think a week off would be great. And then I worry about the falling trap game 49ers. I worry about a trap game to the 49ers.
I think it'd be up for that game.
In Santa Clara.
probably not going to have Christian McCaffrey.
That's true.
They got all kind of other injuries they're dealing with, and like they're 2-3. They're interesting right now. Like they're gonna get healthy. You feel like they'll hit their stride because they're well coached and they got a lot of talent on the team. But also they're 2-3.
If they get through October undefeated, the Chiefs, then you have the Buccaneers in town for some Monday night football game.
Yeah, that's Monday night.
Buccaneers have been pretty good this year.
Yeah, playing good ball. But again, Arrowhead, primetime.
That's true. At this point, I'm trying to figure out where I see a loss.
Right, like
because they're not going to go 17-0.
They're
not.
They're not. Like the obvious pitfalls on the schedule were early, right?
Yeah.
Like where we thought, or at least the ones that felt obvious, were really early in the season. And the Chiefs haven't played great football, and yet here they are. Here they are at 4-0. There are a lot of teams that have similar aspirations to the Chiefs that would love to be where the Chiefs are, even if they do get beat tonight.
Yeah.
They'd be 4-1, which the Bills are 3-2, and Josh Allen's brain is scrambled eggs. The Jets are 2-3, the 49ers are 2-3, the Bengals are 1-4. Like they all count the same when you're trying to get a high speed in the postseason.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does. It feels like it feels like you're waiting for a shoe to drop, but I have a hard time believing that shoe's going to drop tonight against the Saints team that's as beat up as they are. We're going to take a break here. We'll come back. We'll preview game 2 of the Royals and the Yankees tonight. A surprise leadoff hitter for the boys in blue. We'll tell you who that is next on 580 Sports Talk. Update from Cleveland. Detroit takes a 3-0 lead in the top of the ninth. Kerry Carpenter, a 3-run home run off of Emmanuel Clase. Do you know how many 3-run home runs Emmanuel Clase had given up in his career before that? Zero. He gave up 2 home runs in 74 and a third innings this year. Just gave up a 3-run home run to untie a scoreless game in the top of the ninth. So Detroit had to win the Scooble game in this series to have any chance. And it looks like they're going to. Top of the ninth is not over yet, but is a 3-0 Detroit lead. Kerry Carpenter slugs right-handed pitching.
I'm watching it back right now.
Here's the list of guys who had a higher OPS against right-handed pitchers this year. Kerry Carpenter. Juan Soto, Bobby Witt Jr., Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge. That's it.
Makes sense. That's a list that makes sense.
Yes. Now, don't ask a man his salary, a woman her age, or Kerry Carpenter what his OPS against left-handed pitching is. But he'll kill a righty, especially when you hang a slider. I don't know. If it were me and I had a 100-mile-an-hour cutter from hell, I would simply throw that pitch over and over again.
Yeah, why not?
that is what I would do. But I guess I'm built different. Anyway, Tigers look like they're going to win that series and even it up at 1 apiece. Royals are going to try and do the very same tonight in the Bronx against the Yankees. So we'll look at the lineups tonight. It is, as I teased before the break, surprise leadoff man tonight for the Royals, Michael Garcia in the leadoff spot for Kansas City tonight against the left-handed starter Carlos Rodon. I am trying to find, and I'm going to be able to pull it up here in just a moment. Michael Garcia had not batted leadoff in a game since August 31st. Wow. That was the last time. It had been Tommy Pham almost exclusively. Then it was Adam Frazier. Then in the division series, it was Michael Massey. And in game 1, it was Massey. But Massey is moved down in the lineup tonight against a left-handed pitcher. So it will be Garcia, who was primarily the leadoff hitter this year for the Royals, but it's hard to justify your presence at the top of the order when you have a 281 on base percentage.
I've got a 13-second fight from Cotrero on why. You want to hear it?
Yes, absolutely. That doesn't sound like it.
That's because I didn't mute my YouTube TV.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I do want to hear this. I was gonna mention this, but you've got the audio. That's even better. Let's hear it.
A lot of things.
That was the answer.
That is something that the Royals have to be able to press their advantage with is base running, is speed. And Garcia certainly offers that. 37 for 39 stealing bases in the regular season at the top of the order, but got to get on base. Can't steal first. So hopefully Garcia can make something happen as the Royals continue to look for an answer in the leadoff spot. Garcia is playing third base tonight. And in that leadoff spot, Bobby Witt Jr. bats second, Vinny Pasquantino third and DHing. Salvador Perez is catching and batting fourth. No surprises there. Yuli Gurriel batting fifth at first base, then Massey at second base. Tommy Pham bats seventh in left. Hunter Renfroe batting eighth in right field, and Garrett Hampson gets the nod in center, batting ninth against the left-hander Rodon. Lineup for the Yankees tonight, Gleyber Torres leads off at second base, followed by Juan Soto in right, Aaron Judge in center. Austin Wells, the catcher, bats cleanup. Giancarlo Stanton DHs and bats fifth. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is the third baseman. He bats sixth. Batting seventh, the shortstop, Anthony Volpe. I had my A names backwards. I was about to call him Alex Volpe. No, it's Alex Verdugo, who's in left field batting eighth. And John Birdie, as I mentioned earlier, gets the start at first base tonight. It is his first appearance as a first baseman in his professional career. First base isn't hard. Tell him, Wash.
Also, Cotrero was asked about the crossover support for the Chiefs and the Royals from the players of each team. And he said he went to practice ones for the Chiefs. And Mahomes came over to him and started talking to him about the bullpen.
Yeah, no, Mahomes is definitely like a ball knower. Yeah. Obviously had a baseball background of note. Drew Tranquil came to the game tonight at Arrowhead wearing a Bobby Witt jersey.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that was pretty cool. Bobby Witt Jr. jersey, I should specify. But So those are the lineups tonight. Cole Ragans, I mentioned on Friday when we talked about important guys in this series, and obviously your best pitcher is an important player in every series, but Ragans has a chance to do what it appears that Tarek Skubal is about to do for the Detroit Tigers. You can flip home field with a strong Game 2 performance. And Ragans has been awesome since the start of September. You include his start in the wild card series, 31 innings, 34 strikeouts to 11 walks, and just 3 earned runs allowed, a .87 ERA since the calendar flipped to September. Carlos Rodon starts for the Yankees tonight. He was really good in September as well. Had a .220 ERA in 5 starts. Historically, he has been better on longer rest. And, of course, all of the Yankees pitchers are on longer rest because they didn't play in the wild card series. The Royals are going to throw a bunch of right-handers. The only lefties in the lineup to start tonight are Pasquantino and Massey, who you really can't take out of the lineup right now if you're the Royals. Rodon pitched against the Royals in the series in the Bronx in September, gave up 4 runs, just 2 earned, and gave up home runs to Salvador Perez and Hunter Renfroe. So also struck out 9 in a little over 6 innings to just 1 walk. So you have to hope, I think, tonight that the Royals' right-handed bats have a bit of an edge against the lefty. Certainly, there's plenty of right-handed power that should get a good look at Cole Ragans, but Ragans was quite good against the Yankees in that start. In fact, I think it was the same game. I want to say it was Ragans against Rodon in that contest. I'm going to try and find the box score here. That was the game that the bullpen let get away, ended up being a 10-4. No, it was Rodon and Singer that night. It was Ragans who started the rubber game of that series, the one that went to fake baseball in extra innings. Ragans allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, gave up the home run to Soto in the 6th, which it'd be like that sometimes. Soto's really good.
Yeah.
But the keys remain the keys. You have to keep the other team's best hitters in check, and you have to cash in your run scoring opportunities. Defensively, you got to be a little sharper. Running the bases, want to be a little sharper. But this is a winnable matchup, I think, for the Royals. I think the Royals come to the ballpark tonight feeling like they've got the starting pitching edge. Bullpen should be ready to go. Yankees got to see a lot of those guys, but you still should be fresh with the day off yesterday. So I like the Royals' chances tonight of going and winning this game and really making this a series heading back to Kansas City. It's looking like it's going to be the trend, right? Every other series is tied at 1.
I was going to say, it's like, is this like the MLB trend of the playoffs? Let's tie every series at 1.
I'd love that. I would really very much enjoy that outcome. So those are the lineups tonight. That's the pitching matchup. Both teams, honestly, should be pretty well rested in their bullpens and have no issues in regards to who is available. But again, both teams had to go kind of deep into their bullpens. Royals used 5 relievers in the opener. Zerpa came in, couldn't find the strike zone. Schreiber walked in the go-ahead run. Sam Long, Michael Lorenzen, who took the loss, and then Urseg threw 28 pitches to get 4 outs. But again, he should be ready to go tonight. Yankees used Tim Hill, Royal great. Clay Holmes only needed 13 pitches to get 5 outs. Tommy Kahnle and then Luke Weaver for the 24 pitch 4-out save. The Luke Weaver thing is so aggravating. He was a Royal for 14 games and they were all terrible. He was so bad and really bad for most of his career. And then he lands in New York and one of the best long relievers in baseball as a 30-year-old. Just go figure. Some franchises have all the luck, right? Luke Weaver turning into this after years of definitively not being this. And those years, including a stopover in Kansas City, where he was essentially the mop-up guy for 14 games at the end of 2022. Trying to remember, they traded somebody to get him. Oh, Emmanuel Rivera, who's actually ended up being kind of a useful utility piece. Like, Rivera is pretty position limited, but he would, I guess not. I guess his hitting numbers, he was good for Baltimore down the stretch, but I guess his numbers aren't really that good looking at his baseball reference page. He was decent in 2022. The Royals let him get away for virtually nothing. 2 weeks of terrible Luke Weaver, and now Weaver's maybe going to be the ninth inning guy for the Yankees in this postseason.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we will wrap up the program with a final word, give you one more glance at where you can hear the ball games tonight, and tell you about our plans for instant reactions, all that good stuff. That's coming up on the final word as we wrap up this edition of 580 Sports Talk. Before we get to the final word, we have breaking news on the status of Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice, and the two major scoopsmen that cover the NFL have very different ways of reporting this story. First, from Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. Sources: while Chiefs star wide receiver Rashee Rice's season is expected to be over, he did receive positive news today from Dr. Dan Cooper. Rice needs his lateral collateral ligament repaired, but there is a chance that's the only ligament to be repaired. He's expected to make a full recovery. So, not as severe as initially feared, but likely to be a season-ending injury. That's the word from Ian Rappaport. Here is Adam Schefter's reporting. After consulting today with doctors, I'm reading from his Twitter account, there's a lot of optimism that standout wide receiver Rashee Rice didn't suffer a knee injury as significant as first believed. Per source, Rice will be put under anesthesia Tuesday to determine the extent of his injury, but the belief now is it could be a much shorter recovery timeline than originally thought. Now, much shorter could mean we thought he'd be out for a year, and it's only 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
but they're really worded two separate ways.
It is. It's very strange, the wording that Rappaport and Schefter use.
But it also appears they don't 100% know.
Yes. Good news. Expected to be a full recovery. Doesn't sound like it's an ACL. Bad news. Still doesn't feel like we're going to see Rashee Rice again in 2024. That much remains to be seen. Okay, that's the breaking news. Let's get to a final word. Spencer, lead us off. What was that?
That was a video on Instagram that I clicked into on accident.
All right, your final word?
My final word tonight is we have the best night. the best night ever is upon us, right? We got 2 games to watch. Which one you choose to have the volume on or on your singular TV, that's of your choice. But you got playoff baseball and Monday Night Football. I think you can't go wrong watching either. Might be a nail-biting game for the Yankees tonight, or for the Royals against the Yankees tonight. So might be getting a bit nervous there.
These are the nights that make it worth it to be a sports fan. They are also the nights potentially that make you wish you had never heard of sports and maybe joined a monastery when you were young. We've all been there. This is going to be a lot of fun. And again, even if you are the type to endure rather than to enjoy a night with 2 big games with your 2 favorite teams on the screen, just remember this. There is playoff baseball, and there are the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions at home, one of the best atmospheres in sports, playing to go 5-0 and be the only AFC team that starts 5-0. Trenton Kraxner, our summer intern, used to bring up the quote from The Office all the time. The line about wishing you knew when you were in the good old days, that you could know you were in the good old days before you actually left them. Folks, tonight, these are the good old days. This is a night you could be telling your kids or your grandkids about someday. Or it could be a night that makes you want to go to bed immediately after the end of the Chiefs game and maybe reconsider all of your life choices. But let's hope it's not that. Let's hope for some winning red and blue Monday action, and we'll be back to talk about it all tomorrow on 580 Sports Talk from 3 until 6. For Spencer Dupuis, I'm Dan Lucero. Royals baseball next.